Chapter 2957. Goodbye. Morong Qingqing's blood began to burn. On the other side, Shin Jinqia's power also became chaotic. Both of them wanted to self-destruct to destroy their enemies. Damn it, it's not that easy to self-destruct. If you dare to self-destruct, it'll kill everyone who says there's a jade lake. The female prodigy from the fire Qilin cave also screamed. However, they couldn't stop it. Seeing the power in their bodies becoming more and more chaotic, a terrifying aura erupted. Not good. Run. As for the surrounding people, they were running away in a frenzy. The self-destruction of two top geniuses of the human race was absolutely devastating. Don't! The dark red dragon screamed like a madman. On the other side, Gu Santong and the other side. Was there no turning back? Just as everyone was in despair, a pair of shining palms appeared in the sky and enveloped Morong Qingqing and Shin Jinqiu. Soon the destructive power disappeared. What happened? Those people who were running away all stopped and looked behind them in bewilderment. Could it be that they didn't self-destruct successfully? Were they sealed again by the 10,000 ancient races? They turned to look. The prodigies from the 10,000 ancient races were also stunned, especially the prodigies from the Silver Tribe and Fire Qilin Cave. Were those hands Yiwudao's? They looked at the golden fiery palms and cried out in shock. Many people looked at Yiwudao, but Yiwudao frowned. No, it wasn't Yiwudao. Could it be? It was Lin Xian. It was the temple master. The cultivators from Immortal Palace cried out crazily. The dark red dragon also roared with laughter. Ha ha ha, I knew it. How could that brat die like this? Brat, hurry up and come out with me. We have to kill them. What is it, that brat? Damn it, it's impossible. How could he still be alive? That saint-level power had long since crushed him to pieces. There was no way he could survive. Many archaic prodigies screamed. The prodigies from the Fire Qilin Cave, the two-headed dragon, and the Silver Tribe all narrowed their eyes. They stared at the glowing palms in the sky. Brother Lin Xian, is that you? Morong Qingqing and Shin Jinqiu were also very surprised. They originally wanted to perish together, but they didn't expect that at the last moment, someone would suppress their strength. He had saved them. Boom! Boom! In the sky, the two golden hands exerted force and shattered the purple sword qi. On the other side, the silver cage that sealed the world was destroyed by a single slap. Two large palms wrapped around Morong Qingqing and Shin Jinqiu and brought them to a safe place. Then they turned into two flame barriers, protecting the two of them. What? It shattered in an instant. The eyes of the genius of the Argent tribe and the woman from the Fire Qilin cave widened. Who was he? His methods were actually so powerful. Was it really that kid? Impossible. They still didn't believe that the other party couldn't survive that kind of violent energy. Damn it, who are you? Acting all mysterious. The Silver Clan's genius roared in anger, his voice like thunder. Everyone looked in all directions. In front of him, a vortex appeared above the flames, and a figure walked out from the vortex. What? It's that kid. It's really Lin Xian. Lin Xian didn't die. Everyone was stunned. They didn't dare to believe it. How did he survive? That's right, the one who came out was Lin Xian. At this moment, Lin Xian's body was surrounded by divine flames. His face was incomparably cold, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. He first looked at Morong Qingqing and Shin Jinqiu. When he saw the two women's pale faces and bloodied bodies, he was instantly enraged. The 9 suns' divine flames on his body turned into countless sword qi that shot into the sky. He took a step forward and arrived beside the two in an instant. With a wave of his hand, a pile of natural treasures appeared. Qingqing Qiu, you're injured. Brother Xian, I'm fine. Morong Qingqing heaved a sigh of relief. Shin Jinqiu was about to cry. Brother Lin Xian, that's great, you're not dead. They were too excited. Lin Xian waved his hand, and the 9 suns' divine flames melted the natural treasures, turning them into 2 balls of pure energy that surged into the 2 women's bodies. At the same time he asked, who is it that injured you? It's that big bad guy. Shin Jinqiu pointed at the silver-white figure in the sky and said. Morong Qingqing, who was at the side, didn't say anything. However, she couldn't look at the female prodigy from the Fire Qilin cave. I understand. I'll avenge you. Lin Xian nodded and looked at the two of them. He didn't attack immediately. Instead, he glanced at the dark red divine dragon. When he saw that the dark red divine dragon wasn't injured, he heaved a sigh of relief. He looked at the martial artists from Immortal Palace again. When he saw that Peacock, Hui Dao, and the others were also seriously injured, and many of them were even killed, Lin Xian clenched his fists. He came in front of these people and took out countless natural treasures again. Palace Master, Peacock and the others were extremely excited. Many of them knelt down on one knee. Palace Master, we didn't protect you well enough. The Jade Lake Saintess and Xixia Saintess were injured. Palace Master, please punish us. Lin Xian shook his head. No, you did well. Now leave it to me. I'll avenge you. Who injured you? It's them. Peacock and the others raised their heads, their eyes burning with anger. They pointed at the Blood Moon Clan, Silver Clan and Red Wing Clan. Lin Xian turned his head and stared at these primordial life forms. These primordial life forms trembled as fear appeared in their eyes. However, they still braced themselves and said, "Damn it, what do you want? Brat, you're not dead. You're really lucky. So what if you're not dead? We'll kill you with our own hands after you come. That's right. Do you think you're a match for us?" They screamed crazily. Lin Xian's expression was cold. A fiery red sword appeared in his hand. Fire separation sword. Buzz! He took a step forward. His speed was so fast that no one could see him clearly. In the sky, countless sword chi flashed. Every sword slashed an ancient creature. With every sword, a corpse fell. Soon, blood dyed the sky red. Hundreds and thousands of ancient creatures' corpses fell from the sky and smashed into the ground. Shocking, absolutely shocking. In almost an instant, the Blood Moon Clan, Silver Clan, and Red Wing Clan's ancient creatures were all killed. The corpses piled up like a mountain. Blood surged in the sky, turning it into azure hell. No. The other ancient creatures screamed crazily as if they had seen a ghost. They retreated frantically. The human warriors felt their scalps go numb. Many of them were about to faint. What kind of scene was this? Killing these ancient creatures was no different from killing ants. The Immortal Palace's warriors clenched their fists in excitement. Great, their palace master was still alive. Not only that, he even helped them take revenge. Damn it. How dare you? The Blood Moon Clan and Silver Clan's prodigies screamed crazily. The double-headed dragon and Fire Qilin Cave's female prodigy's pupils shrank. Especially the Fire Qilin Cave's female prodigy. Her eyes were red, and her body was covered in flames. She was about to go crazy. The sword in the other party's hand was her treasure. How could he still be alive? Could it be that the other party had successfully sealed the Fire Spirit Pearl? At that thought, his expression turned cold. Chapter 2958. However, before she could make a move, the two sky prides from the Blood Moon Clan charged over. Bloody light filled the sky from their bodies. Their bodies completely transformed into two full moons, descending from the sky and shrouding Lin Xian. They wanted to crush him with their terrifying bloodline power. Buzz. Lin Xian did not dodge. Instead, he waved the blazing Qilin sword and shot out two rays of sword light that looked like peerless immortal light. He slashed forward. With a poochie sound, the two sword lights struck the blood-colored moons. With one strike, the two blood-colored moons split in half. Ah! Two screams were heard. Then, the corpses of the two Archean sky prides from the Blood Moon Clan fell from the sky. What? Dead. Everyone was stunned. They could not believe it. Lin Xian killed two Archean sky prides with a single slash. Oh my god. How is this possible? They were Archean sky prides. They were not like the Archean creatures from before. The two Archean sky prides from the Blood Moon Clan had at least 30,000 Archean power. They were so powerful that they could suppress an area. But now they were killed with a single slash. Their souls did not even have a chance to escape. How can this kid be so strong? Why do I feel that his strength has increased? Many people were terrified. Lin Xian turned his head and stared at the sky pride from the Silver Clan. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. The sky pride from the Silver Clan trembled when he was stared at by Lin Xian. But very quickly he became furious. Damned brat, I want you dead. Although he was crazy, he was not stupid. He knew that his strength was on par with Bai Qianshan. If Lin Xian could kill Bai Qianshan, he could definitely kill him. Therefore, he secretly sent a voice transmission to the female Sky Pride from the Fire Qilin cave. He asked her clone to cooperate with him. His clone had 38,000 units of Archean power, so the two of them combined could fight against an existence with 40,000 units of Archean power. It was definitely enough to kill Lin Xian. Attack! With a roar, the Sky Pride from the Silver Clan rushed out. At the same time, the clone of the Sky Pride from the Fire Qilin cave also rushed over. The two of them attacked Lin Xian from the left and right. Oh no, they are teaming up. Many people were terrified. Murong Qingqing and the others were also nervous. The Sky Prides from the Silver Clan were not weak. Their clone was also terrifying. Their combined strength was absolutely terrifying. Let's see how this kid is going to die. Many Archean creatures sneered. Thunderclap. The prodigy of the Silver Clan waved his fist, which transformed into 8 stars. Each of them carried incomparable lightning as they descended from the sky. Everyone was terrified. This was an extremely terrifying lightning divine ability. At this moment, when the 8 lightning stars appeared, they could destroy everything. The avatar transformed into a flame Qilin, roaring non-stop. The flame Qilin had a pair of fiery red wings on its back, and blood flowed through them. It Lin's Kylin Lin Shui cut through the void space. Another peerless Lin Xian. Both Silver Clan Sky Prides go to hell for me. Terrifying lightning exploded and flames filled the air. The entire world was overturned. Wang. Lin Lin Pride's many people looked at the violent energy that filled the sky and sneered. Buzz. Amidst the violent energy, 3 sword lights flew out. The first sword cut through the energy. The first sword cut through the Silver Clan's Sky Pride. The second sword killed the clone. 3 swords. Just 3 swords. Lin Xian destroyed everything. Once again, he walked out of the energy vortex, completely unscathed. Sizzle. The clone turned into a pool of blood that scattered in all directions. The corpse of the Silver Clan's Sky Pride fell to the ground and stopped breathing. What? He's dead again. Everyone was terrified. That was the Sky Pride from the Silver Clan. He was as powerful as Bai Qianshan. However, he was still killed by a single sword strike. Impossible. How did this kid become so powerful? That's right. Previously, when I fought Bai Qianshan, I had to use all my means to kill him. But now he can kill a powerhouse of the same realm with a single sword strike. What did this kid go through? The Archean creatures screamed crazily. The female Sky Pride from the Fire Qilin cave was also shocked. Damn it. He actually killed my clone with a single sword strike. She couldn't believe it. However, even though it was just a clone, it still had 38,000 units of Archean power. A single clone was enough to wipe out all the human Sky Prides except for Yi Dao Denier. One could imagine how terrifying that clone was. But now? It was killed by Lin Xian with a single sword strike. What kind of shock was that? You dared to attack the people around me? You've touched my bottom line. Therefore, you will die today. Lin Xian's cold voice echoed in all directions. He stared at the female Sky Pride from the Fire Qilin cave. I let you escape last time, but you still don't know what's good for you. You dare to attack my woman? You can die now. Damn kid, I was careless last time. This time, I won't lose to you. The female Sky Pride was so angry that she went crazy. Lin Xian didn't say anything else. He turned to look at Yi Dao Denier. Brother Yi, thank you for helping me this time. I will remember this favor. Yi Dao Denier nodded. I'll leave this to you. With that, his figure flickered and he left. In the sky, Lin Xian strode forward. Remember, don't touch the people around me. Lin Xian's aura became more and more terrifying. The female Sky Pride sneered. Who do you think you are? How dare you speak to me like that? I'll show you my true strength. She roared and began to burn the power of her bloodline. The purple smoke brilliant furnace spun continuously above her head, transforming into countless purple sword chi. Not only that, but this time, the female Sky Pride took out a demonic beast claw. It was a withered claw that looked like a corpse. The moment it appeared, a terrifying aura pressed down on the surroundings. Qilin claw. Damn it, she actually has such a thing. Many people's eyelids twitched, and the ancient creatures were terrified. The female sky pride from the fire Qilin cave sneered. Die, kid. She activated the Qilin claw, and at the same time, 10,000 purple sword chi surged out from above her head, attacking Lin Xian. The terrifying sword chi pierced through the void, and the terrifying Qilin claw continued to expand, covering the sky and earth. It was like the palm of a fiend god. This claw could crush the sun and moon, and overturn heaven and earth. Under this claw, even those powerful invincible kings would be reduced to ashes. It's too powerful. Is this the prodigy of the ancient theocrats? As expected, no one could stop her. In the face of such a terrifying attack, Lin Xian didn't dodge at all. His aura erupted like a wave. The fire Qilin sword in his hand suddenly expanded, as if it had come to life. It stabbed out, piercing through the sky. The sky was filled with flames and terrifying sword chi. It was like thunder, soaring into the clouds. Pooh! The sword illuminated the entire world, and the terrifying Qilin claw was pierced, forming a large hole. Chapter 2959. The sword chi tore through the purple sword light, and arrived in front of the female prodigy. What? How is that possible? He broke the Qilin claw? I don't believe it. The female prodigy screamed. Her beautiful eyes were wide open, filled with shock and fear. The Qilin claw was formed from the claw of an extremely terrifying immemorial king from the fire Qilin cave. It was extremely powerful, and it could even kill those powerful invincible immemorial kings. But now? It was destroyed by the other party. Although she knew that the power of the fire Qilin sword played a part, the other party's strength had definitely become stronger. He was even more powerful than when she fought with him previously. And much more powerful. That's impossible. Damn it. Could it be that this kid's strength has increased again? But how long has it been? From the time they were forced to leave Flame Tower to the time they attacked Dark Red Godly Forest, Morong Qingcheng, and the others, only 3 days had passed. However, the other party's strength had increased tremendously in these 3 days. That was simply impossible. It was simply a myth. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. The female prodigy of the fire Qilin cave temporarily suppressed the shock in her heart. The most important thing now was to dodge the sword. Roar. At this critical moment, the female prodigy could no longer care about anything else. With a roar, cold scales began to grow on her body. They were densely packed and covered her entire body. Her body also became bigger, like a small mountain, completely turning into a Qilin. After transforming into a Qilin, her strength increased again. Not only that, but her body also became incomparably strong. Those ice-cold scales were comparable to the toughest treasured weapons. Damn it, I don't believe that I can't block it. The female prodigy of the Qilin tribe screamed crazily. She wanted to use her body to block the sword. The sword pierced through. The female prodigy of the fire Qilin cave widened her eyes. She looked at her body in disbelief. How could it be pierced through? Her incomparably tough fire Qilin body had a bloody hole pierced through it. Moreover, her heart had been shattered. Not only that, there was a sword intent that could destroy everything in the wound. It began to spread throughout her body. Soon, countless cracks appeared on her body. Even her head was the same. Her soul wanted to escape from her body, but it was enveloped by a biting cold sword intent. No. Damn it. This was impossible. I don't believe you. The female prodigy of the fire Qilin cave screamed as if she had gone mad. She found it hard to accept. She was a genius of the royal clan. How powerful was 40,000 Archean power? With a stomp of her foot, those human saints and saintesses would be reduced to ashes. However, the man before him was able to easily kill him. What level had the other party's strength reached? Boom. She didn't have time to think anymore, because the sword chi exploded out and cut the fire spirit grotto's Sky Pride's body into pieces. His soul was annihilated. Blood rained down from the sky, and not a single spot was left intact. Dead. The Great Fire Qilin Paradise sect was killed by the other party in such a domineering manner. This scene was simply too shocking. This caused the bodies of the Archean elites to tremble, and many of them knelt on the ground. How did this kid become so strong? The dark red dragon was shocked. Murong Qingqing and the others also opened their mouths wide. On the other side, Leaf Daodinier gasped. He had fought with the female prodigy of the Fire Qilin cave. Naturally, he knew how powerful she was. If he wanted to kill her, he would have to use some powerful trump cards. But now Lin Xian had killed her with a single sword strike. This method definitely surpassed his. It seemed that he had obtained some kind of opportunity in the Flame Pagoda. Leaf Daodinier exclaimed in his heart. On the other side, the two-headed dragon screamed. Damn it, I don't believe it. How can you be so strong? He was going crazy. His strength was on par with the female prodigy of the Fire Qilin cave. He also had 40,000 Archean power. He usually flaunted his strength, but now he was truly afraid. Was that sword strike of his opponent an ordinary sword strike? Or had he used all of his strength and unleashed a world-shaking sword strike? He was more willing to believe the latter. However, he didn't plan to attack anymore. He wanted to leave quickly because he was scared out of his wits. You want to leave? Can you leave? The dark red dragon sneered and spat out flames and lightning to stop the other party. Damn it, how dare you stop me? The two-headed dragon was furious. So what if I stop you? The dark red dragon sent out another bolt of thunder, striking the other party's body, causing him to tumble in the sky and shatter countless voids. Lin Xian also walked up again. He held the Fire Qilin sword, and the aura on his body was extremely powerful. Next, it's your turn. He stared at the two-headed dragon. Being stared at by Lin Xian, the two-headed dragon's body stiffened, and deep fear appeared in his eyes. No, damn brat, you can't attack me. I'm from the nest of 10,000 dragons. If you dare to attack me, the nest of 10,000 dragons won't let you off. We are dragons, and we command the 10,000 races of the ancient era. If you touch me, you'll become an enemy of the entire ancient era. Become an enemy of the entire ancient era? So what? Lin Xian didn't care at all. Those who dared to threaten the people around him would only have one outcome, and that was death. He raised his hand and swung his sword. This sword strike was incomparably peerless. Damn it, block it for me. The two-headed dragon roared angrily and shot out lightning and fire that filled the sky. Damn brat, have a taste of my ultimate move, apocalyptic thunder. Lightning surged on his body, forming bolts of black lightning with a strong aura of destruction. It was as if they could destroy the entire world. Ha 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 brat, go to hell. This apocalyptic thunder was condensed from his bloodline power. This was his full-strength attack, and he didn't hold back at all. As far as he was concerned, this attack was more than enough to kill an expert with 40,000 levels of Archean power. No matter how strong the other party was, he wouldn't be able to withstand it. In the sky, sword energy flickered and collided with the apocalyptic thunder, emitting sizzling sounds. Those black thunderbolts were quickly annihilated by this sword. No, damn it, how was this possible? The two-headed dragon was dumbfounded, not daring to believe it at all. That was the apocalyptic thunder, and it carried an extremely strong aura of destruction. However, it was easily destroyed by the other party. How did the other party do it? Damn it, just how much ancient era power do you have? At this moment, the two-headed dragon's body trembled. He realized that he had made a fatal mistake. He had underestimated the other party too much. The other party's strength had far exceeded his imagination. Not good run. The dragon swung its tail, tore the void, and turned around to escape. Lin Xian looked at the other party's fleeing figure, and the corners of his mouth curled up into a cold smile. He raised the Fire Qilin sword and stabbed out. A fire dragon spewed out, turning into a divine light that directly pierced through the other party's body. No. Boom. A scream accompanied by a corpse resounded in the sky. The huge dragon's body was split in half. Chapter 2960. Ha 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 ha. I'll stew you now. Dark Red roared with laughter, and kept the huge dragon corpse. Lin Xian stood in the air and asked coldly, who else had attacked just now? He looked at the 10,000 ancient beasts. Those ancient beasts were trembling. Most of them were prostrating on the ground, while a small number of them were gritting their teeth. Damn it, the three royal families are here. You're dead meat. As soon as he finished speaking, his head split open. Lin Xian's voice was cold as sword chi burst forth. Is that so? Then, let's see if the royal family in your eyes can save you. Those who resisted were killed mercilessly by the sword chi. At this moment Lin Xian was like the god of death. The remaining ancient beasts were completely subdued. Their bodies were trembling, and many of them fainted. Even the elites of the human race were the same. Brother Yi, Brother Gu, and No Flower, thank you for your help this time. If you need my help in the future, don't hesitate to ask. Lin Xian was extremely grateful to the three of them. If not for them, Morong Qingqing and Shen Jingxiu would have been in even more danger. I believe the royal family should be in the next district. I'll open the passage to the third district now. Lin Xian turned to the flaming pagoda and formed hand seals. 9 suns split the heavens. The blazing Qilin sword surged and split the flaming pagoda in half. The purple sea of flames within the flaming pagoda spun continuously, forming a purple spatial gate. All he had to do was enter the spatial gate. Lin Xian turned and said to Yi Wudao and the others. Then, he led Morong Qingqing, Shen Jingxiu, the Crimson Dragon, and the people from Immortal Hall forward quickly. After entering the purple spatial gate, they disappeared. Behind them, Yi Wudao and the others took a deep breath. Let's go too. Gu Santong Wu Hua, and the others did the same. They led their own people and flew forward quickly. On the other side, Lin Xian and the others were teleported to the next area by a purple spatial gate. The flames here were even more monstrous. The architecture was even more spectacular. After coming out, the dark red divine dragon couldn't wait to ask, "Kid, how strong are you now?" That was way too powerful. He was truly stunned. One had to know that he had fought with the two-headed dragon for a long time. Although he could suppress it, it was still very troublesome to completely kill it. However, Lin Xian had arrived and killed the other party with a single slash. Even the Crimson Divine Dragon was shocked by such means. Lin Xian said in a low voice, "I've already reached 50,000 Archean powers." What? 50,000 Archean powers? As soon as he said this, the dark red dragon jumped up. Morong Qingqing, Shen Jingxiu, and the others also gasped. Peacock and the rest were even more shocked. 50,000 Archean powers. No wonder. The two-headed dragon and the female prodigy of the Fire Qilin Cave both had 40,000 Archean powers. As for Lin Xian, he had 50,000 Archean powers. No wonder he could kill the other party so easily. With a difference of 1,000 Archean powers, he could defeat the other party. With a difference of 3,000 Archean powers, he could suppress the other party. Not to mention 10,000 Archean powers. "Kid, what have you been through?" the dark red divine dragon asked. Lin Xian said, "I've taken the fire spirit pearl and absorbed the energy within. It allowed the great dragon sword soul and 9 young divine body to improve. That was why there was a huge change in my strength." Indeed, Lin Xian had absorbed the energy of the fire spirit pearl in that mysterious space, allowing the 9 young divine body to enter the 4th level. His great dragon sword soul had also improved greatly. That was why there was such a huge change in his strength. 50,000 Archean powers. "Kid, you're going against the heavens. I don't think many people are your match." The dark red divine dragon was too excited. If this continued, they had a high chance of obtaining the heavenly fire. Lin Xian nodded, but he was puzzled. Was the fire spirit pearl the so-called heavenly fire? Did he not know? Or was there an even more terrifying heavenly fire in the depths of Heavenly Fire City? He needed to find out all of this. On the other side, in front of the terrifying palace, the Fire Dragon King, the 9th Lord Feng Yinxue, the 7th Lord Huomuzhen, and the geniuses of the 3 royal families were all standing there. They looked ahead, extremely excited. Huomuzhen heaved a sigh of relief. They had broken through. Previously, the 3 royal families had finally reached an agreement after a tense confrontation. Once they entered, the Fire Qilin Cave would get 40% of the treasures, while the nest of 10,000 dragons and Divine Emperor Ridge would get 30% each. Both sides agreed, so Huomuzhen led the 3 royal families to break the array. After a difficult break, they finally tore a hole in the array in front of them. The hole was only 2 meters long and 1 meter wide. It was very small, but it was enough for everyone to enter. Let's go. Huomuzhen took a deep breath. The hole could only stay there for 30 minutes. After that, it would be restored again. After we enter, those people behind us probably won't be able to enter at all. There's no time to lose. Let's go quickly. As he spoke, Huomuzhen took the lead and led the geniuses of the Fire Qilin cave forward. They turned into flames and disappeared into the array. Let's go too. The Fire Dragon King and Feng Yinxue also led their people and set off. After they left, a figure walked out. He was as tall as a fiend god. He looked at the broken array in front of him and did not say anything. His body and mind shook as he directly rushed in. If the martial artists of the human race were here, they would definitely scream, because he was the South Arch, Yin Nantian. After him, the #1 genius of the war race also came. He looked forward, sneered, and quickly disappeared. After entering the mysterious palace, Huomuzhen led his people and moved forward quickly. Behind them, the people of the nest of 10,000 dragons and Divine Emperor Ridge followed closely. Seeing this scene, Huomuzhen's delicate and pretty face was expressionless, but his heart was somewhat gloomy. Damn it, the people of the nest of 10,000 dragons and Divine Phoenix Ridge were really haunting him. They knew more about Sky Flame City, so they naturally knew where the treasures were. If they kept bringing the people of the nest of 10,000 dragons and Divine Emperor Ridge, there would definitely be a great battle. This was not what Huomuzhen wanted to see. However, he could not shake them off because they were not weaker than him. Moreover, they were all members of the ancient royal family and had many trump cards. However, he was unwilling to lead these two groups to search for treasures. Although they were all members of the ancient royal family, and looked like they should be working together, in reality, the 10,000 ancient races had a lot of competition. Especially these royal families. They were even more serious and competitive with each other. One had to know that their princes and princesses would definitely have a battle in the future. Moreover, it was a battle of life and death. How could they coexist peacefully? Chapter 2961. Those three treasures were the Qilin's Eye, the Heavenly Fire, and the Void Divine Furnace. The Qilin's Eye is of the same origin as us, so only we can obtain it. It's impossible for the nest of 10,000 dragons and Divine Phoenix Ridge to obtain it. However, the Heavenly Fire and the Void Divine Furnace might not be the same. The Qilin Crown Prince asked us to bring the Void Divine Furnace back. 7th generation, what should we do? The genius of the Fire Qilin cave asked. After Huomuzhen heard this, he sighed. He originally thought that things would be very simple, but now it seemed that it was much more difficult than he had imagined. Just breaking the formation outside and coming in has cost us too many of our trump cards. This was the outermost array formation. One could imagine how difficult it would be to obtain the Void Divine Furnace. I'm afraid that I only have a 10% chance of taking it out. However, I have a 70% chance of obtaining the Heavenly Fire. Huomuzhen said. Let's get the Heavenly Fire first, and then see if we can obtain the Void Divine Furnace. If we really can't get it, we will return with the Heavenly Fire. I don't think the Crown Prince will blame us too much. All right. The people of the Fire Qilin cave nodded. One of the young men revealed a cold smile. 7th generation. Why don't we play a small trick and let the people of the nest of 10,000 dragons and Divine Phoenix Ridge fight for the Void Divine Furnace? When the time comes, let them kill each other or be killed by the array formation. Wouldn't that be wonderful? The people of the Fire Qilin cave were thinking of a way to kill the nest of 10,000 dragons and Divine Emperor Ridge. On the other side, outside, Lin Xian and the others walked in. What a majestic palace! It was even more terrifying than what they had seen before. From the looks of it, it seemed to have been passed down from ancient times. Seeing this scene, Peacock and the others exclaimed. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. The array formation had been broken. It seemed that the people of the three ancient royal families had already entered. What are we waiting for? Let's go in directly. The dark red divine dragon couldn't wait any longer. He was an expert in array formations. He could tell at a glance that the cracks in the array formation wouldn't last long. He estimated that it would be completely healed in half an incense stick's time. Looking at the power of the array formation, it won't be easy for us to open it. Lin Xian nodded slightly. Golden light flickered in his eyes as he sensed the power within. Then he said, Peacock, don't go in. The flames inside are too strong. You can go outside and search for other opportunities. Yes. Peacock and the rest answered respectfully. That was indeed the case. Even as they stood outside, they felt a sense of trepidation. The energy inside was simply too terrifying. Even if they went in, they wouldn't be able to hold on for long before they were forced to retreat in defeat. Thus, it was better for them to search for opportunities outside. Alternatively, they could return to the top 3 regions to search for opportunities. Morong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu also gave instructions to the people from their respective holy lands. Most of the people from the Purple Sun Sacred Land and the Jade Lake Sacred Land stayed behind. However, there were a few people who wanted to give it a try. Lin Xian didn't care about any of this. The dangerous flames inside were not something that ordinary people could withstand. After giving instructions, Lin Xian led the dark red divine dragon, Morong Qingqing, and Shen Jingqiu into the crack in the array formation. Behind them, the previous holy son of the Purple Sun Sacred Land gritted his teeth as a look of struggle appeared in his eyes. In the next moment, he roared and charged in as well. Of course, there were 2 other figures following him. Most of the others stayed behind. They were prepared to go to other places to search for opportunities. Not long after, Yi Wudao, Gu Santong, No Flower, and the other holy lands and great sects of the human race arrived. When they arrived, they looked at the palace in front of them and sighed in amazement. The fiery aura made their souls tremble. At this moment, Peacock stood up and said to Yi Wudao and the others, Holy Sun Yi, our temple master has informed us that the array formation is cracked and won't last long. Moreover, it's extremely dangerous inside. We hope that Holy Sun Yi and the others can make a decision as soon as possible. Hearing this, the human race's side was stunned. Yi Wudao and the others' eyes also flickered. He said, Thank you for the information. He knew that this was a reminder from Lin Xian. Soon Yi Wudao and the others made a decision. You guys stay here. It's too dangerous inside. I'm afraid it'll be very dangerous for you guys. Yi Wudao decided to go alone. On the other side, Gu Santong, No Flower, and the others did the same. These top prodigies had decided to enter. As for the others, they were prepared to stay outside. One by one, the figures entered quickly. Finally, the crack slowly closed. The entire array formation once again emitted a terrifying aura. After Lin Xian and the others entered the array formation crack, they completely entered the mysterious palace. They were in a vast hall supported by 16 heavenly pillars. There were 9 passageways around them, each leading in different directions. Everything inside was grand and majestic. Everything carried a monstrous fiery aura. The fiery aura made the dark red dragon and the others have no choice but to treat it seriously. Why do I feel like this is a little like the palace of the fire god? Shen Jingqiu whispered. Indeed, Lin Xian's expression was solemn as well. This place was too strange. On the fiery pillars, there were carvings of strange beasts. It was as if they were alive, giving them an extremely uncomfortable feeling. Forget it, let's hurry up and go. Lin Xian said, waving his hand. He wanted to see what treasures were in this mysterious palace. One had to know that he had obtained the Fire Spirit Pearl in the 3rd district. The treasures in the 4th district should be even more precious than the Fire Spirit Pearl. Boom. Just as Morong Qingqing was about to ask which passageway to take, a low voice suddenly came from afar. Following that, flames rushed out from one of the passageways like a giant dragon. Someone was fighting. It should be those 3 from the immemorial theocrats. They were not sure if they were fighting because they could not split the loot evenly, or if they had encountered the array formation trap. The dark red dragon said quickly. Lin Xian's eyes flashed with golden light. He knew more about the Fire Spirit Cave. Therefore, it was definitely not wrong to follow him. Lin Xian and the other 3 figures flashed and flew towards the 3rd passageway on the left. Not long after Lin Xian and the others left, Yi Wudao and the others also came in. When they looked at the huge palace and the 9 passageways, they all frowned. It seemed like they could only rely on their own luck. No Flower shrugged, then found a passageway and walked in. See you later, everyone. Yi Wudao and Gu Santong nodded, and each found a passageway. The Alcate sage, Wuxian, and the others also took a passageway. In the third passageway on the left, Lin Xian and the others walked carefully. They did not want to be discovered by the people in front. Qingqing took out the feather. Morong Qingqing took out a flame feather and covered them. All of a sudden, these people disappeared into the void. This feather was a treasure that they had obtained from the crimson-winged race's prodigy. It could hide them from the enemy. Chapter 2962. The group slowly set off. After walking for about half an hour, they arrived at the front. They found that the front was in a mess. Countless fragments were scattered, and there were still extremely terrifying auras left on them. From the looks of it, it must have been the three ancient theocrats who had taken action to break one of the mechanisms. Are these puppets? Lin Xian looked at an arm made of metal and was extremely surprised. His figure flashed, wanting to grab it and study it. However, at that moment, a cold voice came from afar. Who is it? Get out here. Oh no, we've been discovered. The dark red dragon was stunned. Morong Qingqing and Shen Jingxia were also extremely nervous. Lin Xian frowned. He said, "Oh, go out. The three of you continue to hide. Don't attack again and stay by my side." The dark red dragon, and the others nodded. Lin Xian's expression was also extremely solemn. He did not expect the people from the immemorial royal families to be so powerful. He had just come out, and they had already discovered him. Fortunately, Morong Qingqing and the others did not attack, so they could still hide at that moment. Who's behind us? Get over here quickly, or don't blame me for being merciless. In front of them, the cold voice came again with an extremely powerful flame aura. It seemed that they had been discovered by the people from Fire Qilin Cave. Humph. Lin Xian snorted coldly. His figure flashed and he rushed forward. He did not hide anymore. He turned into a beam of sword light and disappeared into the passage. Behind them, the dark red dragon and the other two kept a safe distance. They followed carefully. This time they did not release any aura. Other than Lin Xian, no one knew of their existence. Lin Xian's speed was very fast, so it did not take long for him to reach the front. In the next moment he was stunned, because at that moment, there was a great hall in front of him. However, the great hall was too vast, as if it was on the other side of the universe. On the walls of the great hall, there were all kinds of relief carvings. They were like statues of gods and demons looking down on the world. There were many figures with powerful auras in front of him, but in the great hall, they were like ants. They were almost ignored. However, Lin Xian still noticed it at a glance. They were from the three ancient imperial families. The three primeval theocrats naturally saw Lin Xian as well. The next moment they frowned. A human brat, and Lin Xian no less. Brat, I didn't expect it to be you. You actually came here on your own. Just nice, I'll kill you here. Many Archean prodigies sneered. Among them, the people of the nest of 10,000 dragons were incomparably ferocious. The Fire Dragon King stared at Lin Xian with a fiery gaze. He knew that Lin Xian had the incomparably mystical great dragon sword soul in his body. He must find a way to get it. The people of the Divine Emperor Ridge were just as excited. Not only that, they looked around in disappointment, wanting to see if Morong Qingqing had arrived. But they didn't notice. The geniuses of the Fire Qilin Cave looked at Lin Xian and sneered. A mere human ant wants to compete with us for treasures? You really don't know what's good for you. Originally, I wanted to let you go. But since you're here, then obediently die for me. These people were ferocious. They didn't put Lin Xian in their eyes at all. Of course, they didn't know about the scene that happened outside in the third area. Otherwise, these people wouldn't have such an attitude. At the back, in a corner, the dark red divine dragon, Morong Qingqing, and Shen Jingxia were covered by mysterious feathers, blocking their auras. No one noticed. At this moment, they saw the arrogant expressions of the 10,000 ancient races. These guys were really courting death. The dark red divine dragon sneered. That's right. Shen Jingxia was also fuming. Big brother Lin Xian was so powerful that he could definitely kill them instantly. Morong Qingqing said nervously. Let's be careful and not be exposed. In front, Lin Xian was threatened by so many people, but he wasn't afraid at all. He was very calm as he looked around and said indifferently, "If you want my life, let's see if you have the ability. I'll kill you." A domineering voice appeared in the sky. It was like a god of war as a palm pressed down from the sky. Everywhere it passed, the void would shatter. The number one genius of the war race. Zhan Wushuang. Many archaic geniuses exclaimed. They didn't expect that the other party would come too. Lin Xian frowned. The other party actually dared to attack him. He was courting death. He snorted coldly and was about to attack. At this moment, the seventh generation lord shouted coldly, "Stop!" He waved his hand and directly shot out a flame that turned into boundless flames and blocked Zhan Wushuang's palm. What was going on? The surrounding people were puzzled. The people of the 10,000 Dragons dynasty and the Emperor Ridge were stunned. Even Lin Xian was stunned. Why would this guy be so kind? In the sky, Zhan Wushuang frowned as well. His cold voice sounded. Why could it be that you want to protect this kid? I don't care about your grudge with him, but you can't fight here now. Huomuzhen said coldly. He looked at the sculptures around him. When you attacked, they were still emitting a peerless killing intent. Do you think Sky Flame City is so simple? This starry sky hall contains countless killing intent. If you act rashly here and activate the peerless array formation, all of us will die here. As soon as he said that, everyone's expression changed. They looked around at the God-fiend sculptures and trembled. Indeed, this starry sky hall was too terrifying. It gave them a feeling of endless desolation. Zhan Wushuang's eyes flickered after hearing that, but he didn't attack. Alright, I'll let him live first. I'll take his life after we leave this starry sky hall. Zhan Wushuang was very domineering. After that attack, he didn't attack again. Below, the geniuses of the three ancient royal families were whispering. This Zhan Wushuang was too arrogant. That's right, how dare he be so domineering in front of us? Many of the ancient theocrats were extremely displeased. After all, no matter how strong the war race was, they were only a royal family. On the other hand, they were royalty. However, some people frowned. This Zhan Wushuang was incredible. Judging from the way he attacked just now, he had at least 45,000 units of Archean power. Moreover, it probably wasn't his full strength. A casual attack had 45,000 units of Archean power? Many people sucked in a breath of cold air after hearing that. That was too terrifying. They estimated that the other party's full strength was around 48,000 units of Archean power. No wonder he dared to be so arrogant. One had to know that even the most powerful geniuses of the royal family only had around 40,000 units of Archean power. For example, the two-headed dragon and the female genius of the Fire Qilin cave both had 40,000 units of Archean power. The Zhan Wushuang in front of them was clearly superior to some of the ancient royal family geniuses. Of course, compared to the Fire Dragon King, the 9th generation, and the 7th generation, he was still a little inferior. Chapter 2963. That's right, this kid probably didn't even have 40,000 Archean power. That was for sure. After using all his trump cards, he probably only had 39,000 Archean power. After all, it was so difficult for him to kill by Qianshan previously. The people of the three archaic empires discussed animatedly. 39,000 Archean power was very strong, but in front of them, it couldn't cause any waves. Of course, this was only their guess about Lin Xian. They were only guessing based on Lin Xian's previous battle results. They didn't know what happened in the third area previously. Otherwise, they definitely wouldn't think so. Let's go. In front, Huomuzhen led the people of the Fire Qilin cave and quickly set off. The people of the nest of 10,000 dragons and the divine Emperor Ridge followed closely. In the sky, Zhan Wushuang also followed silently. A wisp of his aura was locked onto Lin Xian. It seemed that he was afraid that Lin Xian would escape. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian snorted coldly. This Zhan Wushuang really didn't know what was good for him. If the other party dared to make a move against him, he wouldn't mind letting the other party experience the taste of despair. At the same time, he narrowed his eyes. That was because through the heavenly secret divine eyes, he discovered that there were actually a few figures hiding in the dark. It seemed that there were many experts who came in this time. Lin Xian sneered in his heart. His figure flickered and he quickly followed. He wondered what treasures were inside. Gradually Lin Xian frowned. This hall was too big. They had been flying for nearly an incense stick's worth of time, but they still hadn't flown out of the hall. The surroundings were very dark and even a little oppressive. Above and around them were those mysterious statues. They were cold. There was an indescribable aura. Suddenly a low voice sounded, as if a beast was howling, as if a demon had just awakened. As soon as this voice sounded, the people of the three archaic empires stopped in their tracks. They were bewildered. What happened? Did someone appear again? Many archaic paragons frowned. Hormuzin's expression changed. Not good, be careful. I'm afraid that some array formation mechanism has been activated. Array formation? Those archaic creatures seemed to be facing a great enemy. The power in their bodies was circulating, ready to erupt at any time. They were indeed nervous. The universe starry sky great lightning hall was simply too strange. After flying for so long he still couldn't fly out. One could only imagine how terrifying the formations here were. Lin Xian also frowned. A golden light appeared in his eyes as he looked around. His heart pounded wildly because he discovered that the surrounding fiend god relief sculptures had actually changed. Quite a few of them had savage looks on their faces. They pressed their hands against the wall, as if they were going to leap out at any moment. No way, could these reliefs be alive? Lin Xian was shocked. The surrounding ancient theocrats also noticed this scene, and cried out in surprise. Boom! Boom! Finally, under everyone's horrified gazes, those fiend god relief sculptures rushed out. They stood in the void like fiend gods that had come into being. His cold eyes stared down at Lin Xian and the others. Damn it, this should be a puppet. The prodigies cried out in alarm. The archaic creatures in the nest of 10,000 dragons also had solemn expressions. Judging from their auras, I have a feeling that they have at least 40,000 units of Archean power. It was about time. It was indeed a terrifying array puppet. Many people's hearts sank. Lin Xian was also speechless. About 40,000 units of Archean power was about the same level as the two-headed dragon and the Fire Qilin Cave's prodigies. And this was just the relief sculpture puppets. Fortunately, he did not let Peacock and the others in. Otherwise, they would not be able to resist at all. Indeed, there were not many relief sculptures in the sky, but it made the three archaic theocrats feel as if they were facing a great enemy. Boom! 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 A fiend god relief sculpture had a pair of fiendish wings and a single horn on its head. It held a stone spear in its hand. It walked towards the people from the Fire Qilin Cave. Those who did not know would think that it was a member of the 10,000 ancient races. Oh no, it's coming. The archaic creatures from the Fire Qilin Cave had solemn expressions. Hormusin sneered. He pointed with his finger. Whoosh! Boom! A small flame flew out from his fingertip. It was so small that it was almost negligible. However, when they came into contact with the relief sculpture puppets, they exploded with a loud bang and turned into a sea of flames. Crack! 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 The fiend god relief sculpture emitted rumbling sounds as countless cracks appeared. Then it shattered with a loud bang. Killed in one move. This scene made the people from the nest of 10,000 dragons and the divine phoenix ridge suck in a breath of cold air. They stared at Hormusin, their scalps going numb. As expected of the 7th generation lord. His methods were too terrifying. That's right, someone with 40,000 archaic power was easily killed by him in one move. What level had his strength reached? Needless to say, he definitely had 50,000 archaic power. However, they did not know how much he had reached. Tell me, between him and our Fire Dragon King, who do you think is stronger? These people discussed animatedly. As they spoke, the Fire Dragon King also made his move. Dragon shadows filled his body and accompanied his fist as he punched forward. In an instant, the two fiend god relief sculptures were killed. This scene was also extremely shocking. This Fire Dragon King was so strong. 8 Desolation Fire Dragon Fist. This was a great ability of the dragons, and he had cultivated it to such a level. The people from the Fire Qilin cave also had solemn expressions. The people from the nest of 10,000 dragons were smug. It seemed that their fire dragon king was still stronger. On the other side, Feng Yinxue of the Divine Phoenix Ridge also made her move. She directly took out a jade flute and gently blew it. A mysterious sound wave rushed out. Crack. Crack. Similarly, a fiend god relief sculpture that was charging over was torn into pieces. This fiend god relief sculpture seemed to contain a mysterious power. Feng Yinxue waved her palm, and flames flew out to collect the fragments. On the other side, the Fire Dragon King and Huo Muzhen did the same. They also collected these fragments and brought them back to study them. Perhaps they could create such a fiend god puppet. This is great. The people from the three ancient royal families heaved a sigh of relief. With these three super geniuses taking action, they had no fear at all. Behind them, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes when he saw this scene. He had to admit that the Fire Dragon King and the other two were too strong, far surpassing the two-headed dragon from before. They were probably stronger than Zhan Wushuang. Interesting. Lin Xian was very interested in these people. He yearned to fight with these people. Of course, now was not the time. He had to hide his strength now and follow behind silently. When he found the real treasure, he would strike with thunder. Along the way, Huo Muzhen, the Fire Dragon King, and Feng Yinxue led the way. The fiend god puppets they encountered were all destroyed by them. Chapter 2964. Lin Xian's expression was solemn. He had to admit that Skyfire City was too strange. One had to know that there were a total of 9 passages, and this was only one of them, yet there were such terrifying puppets. A single puppet was equivalent to 40,000 arcane powers. The entire hall was vast and boundless, and there were hundreds of thousands of godfiend relief sculptures. If all of them were to be revived, the Fire Dragon King and the others would not be able to escape no matter how powerful they were. Fortunately, it seemed that most of the godfiend relief sculptures did not react. Only a few godfiend relief sculptures struggled to crawl out. That made everyone heave a sigh of relief. They really did not know who built Skyfire City. Was it a super saint? Or a terrifying great emperor? Behind them, the dark red divine dragon Morong Qingqing and the others were even more shocked. Especially Morong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu. Both of them were stunned. Were all puppets so powerful? The dark red divine dragon also gritted its teeth. Damn it, I really want to get the fragments of those puppets. Indeed, it was very tempting to him. He guessed that there was probably a mysterious array formation inside those puppets. If he could study it thoroughly, then his attainments in array formations would be greatly improved. However, he could not get it now. No, he had to think of a way to get that kid to get it for him. The dark red divine dragon muttered softly. Moreover, there were also exclamations because they realized that they were finally approaching the end. The front was not as empty as before, and a passage appeared again. It seemed that it should be a passage out of the vast hall. Lin Xian also heaved a sigh of relief. However, in the next moment his heart beat wildly. Why did he feel that danger was coming? He was shocked and activated the heavenly secret divine eye to look around. Soon he stared ahead. There were 2 statues in the passage ahead. They were very ferocious and terrifying. If these 2 statues suddenly appeared at any other time, it would definitely attract everyone's attention. But now the people of the 3 ancient theocrats were already numb to it. The entire starry hall was densely packed with hundreds of thousands of godfiend relief sculptures. Which one of them was not more ferocious and terrifying than these 2? Therefore they didn't care at all. However, Lin Xian was different. As he possessed the heavenly secret god eyes, he was naturally able to discover the difference between the 2 statues. He discovered that these 2 statues contained a terrifying power that far surpassed the previous puppets. Moreover, this power was becoming more and more berserk, and it seemed like it was about to explode. It was just that it was calm on the surface. Most likely, no one in the entire hall would notice it except for him. There must be danger. Lin Xian unconsciously slowed down his footsteps. He didn't want to remind these people, and he didn't want to bear the inexplicable danger. Just as well. Let the formation mechanism deal a heavy blow to the three immemorial dynasties. Let's see if these people will still be so arrogant then. At this moment, everyone's attention was on the passageway ahead. They wanted to leave as soon as possible, so no one paid any attention to Lin Xian. Even Zhang Wushuang, who was above, did not care. Although Lin Xian's speed had slowed down, he still hadn't escaped his range. Humph! Lin Xian's lips curled into a cold smile. Through the heavenly secret god eyes, he knew that the two god-fiend relief sculptures would soon attack. Indeed, in the next moment, the two god-fiend relief sculptures on both sides of the passageway suddenly launched an attack. The two god-fiend relief sculptures instantly came to life. The tails behind them turned into long spears that pierced through the void. Poof! The void split open as the two tails swept across. In an instant, some immemorial creatures were sent flying. There were even people who were split in half. Not good. Huo Muzin's expression changed, because they were at the forefront of the Fire Qilin cave. At this moment they were the ones being attacked. Not only were the creatures behind him injured, but he was also enveloped by the black shadow. Get lost! Huo Muzin roared as he struck out with his palm. He was the 7th generation's grandson. His strength was extremely terrifying, far surpassing that of ordinary immemorial prodigies. At this moment, under his furious roar, terrifying energy erupted as runes flashed across the sky and blasted forward. Boom! Poof! Such terrifying energy could directly kill an ordinary immemorial prodigy, but it couldn't block the attack of the black shadow. With a pft, the runes were pierced, and blood splattered out. This time, it directly pierced through Huo Muzin's shoulder. This scene stunned everyone. Even the people from the nest of 10,000 dragons, and the divine phoenix ridge behind them were stunned. Huo Muzin was injured? That was the 7th generation's grandson. He was extremely powerful. His ancient power had reached 50,000 points, suppressing everyone else. Such a terrifying person was actually injured? Who was the one who did it? Was it the god-fiend puppet? They didn't dare to imagine. Quickly defend. The Fire Dragon King and Feng Yinxue also shouted angrily. However, as soon as their voices sounded, someone beside them screamed. Among them, in the Fire Qilin cave, a dragon-like creature with black wings was instantly pierced through the head. On the Divine Emperor Ridge's side, a beautiful woman was split in half. Her eyes were wide open. That was because even at the moment of her death, she did not manage to clearly see what had attacked her. Seeing this scene, the front was in chaos. In the sky, Zhang Wushuang and a few figures in the darkness frowned. In the distance, the dark red divine dragon and the others' hearts were beating wildly. Damn it, it was too dangerous. Fortunately, someone took the lead. They felt a lingering fear. Lin Xian looked at this scene and narrowed his eyes, but he sneered in his heart. Because all of this was within his expectations. However, the only thing that surprised him was that the attacks of these two god-fiend puppets were too terrifying. They could actually injure Huo Muzin. It had to be said that Sky Flame City was really full of fatal dangers. The Fire Qilin cave was at the front, so the attacks were the fiercest. In an instant, another two heavenly secrets of the Fire Qilin cave were killed. This scene made Huo Muzin instantly turn ferocious. He roared angrily, "Retreat!" At the same time, he charged towards the black shadow. Buzz! Fiery red runes flickered on his body, and a red long saber appeared in his hand. He held it and slashed forward. Clang! The red long saber swept across the sky, and a terrifying killing intent and runes flickered as it tried to split the opponent in half. However, such a terrifying saber only made a clanging sound when it struck the god-fiend puppet in front. It only made a crack and didn't split the opponent in half. So powerful? Huo Muzin's pupils constricted. It wasn't that he hadn't killed these god-fiend puppets before. Although these puppets were powerful, they couldn't withstand a single blow from him. He could kill them with just a casual blow. However, the puppet in front of him was clearly different. The opponent was very strong and could injure him. Moreover, its defense was even more shocking. His powerful saber didn't pose a fatal threat to the opponent. Chapter 2965. The Fire Dragon King also roared angrily. After all, this puppet was a huge threat to the nest of 10,000 dragons. Roar. A dragon's roar sounded. The dragon blood on the Fire Dragon King's body surged, drowning the entire world. At this moment, he was like a giant dragon that had been born. No one could stop him. He punched out. A terrifying fist accompanied by a dragon's roar blasted towards the godfiend puppet. With a clang, the fist landed squarely on the puppet's body. The puppet was forced back a few steps. A few terrifying cracks appeared on its body, and it almost split apart. However, this puppet was not human after all. It did not feel pain at all. If it were a martial artist, their strength would definitely be greatly reduced after suffering such a heavy injury. They would be in so much pain that they would die. However, these puppets did not react at all. Their attacks did not weaken at all. Whoosh! They opened their mouths and spat out endless flames that swept in all directions. Huomuzhen snorted coldly. His body also ignited endless flames that turned into a qilin to resist. The Fire Dragon King did the same. On the other side, Feng Yinxue also made her move. She urged her jade flute to launch a mysterious sound wave attack. At the same time, a pair of blue divine wings grew out from her back. She used the ice attribute to attack. The puppet was of the fire attribute, so the fire attack did not cause much damage to it. As she spoke, the pair of blue ice wings spat out ice and snow that filled the sky, instantly freezing the entire world. Half-saint artifact, frost wings. Many archaic creatures screamed in surprise. Divine Phoenix Ridge, Phoenix Clan. In addition to the Fire Phoenix, there were also Ice Phoenixes in the clan. Although Feng Yinxue was a Fire Phoenix, she had the half-saint artifact left behind by Bingfeng after his death. This pair of blue wings was it. At this moment, it could really freeze everything. The three top prodigies attacked the two godfiend puppets. An earth-shattering battle broke out. Terrifying energy surged in all directions. The surrounding three archaic royal family creatures quickly retreated. Lin Xian also retreated to the side. He sent a voice transmission to the dark red dragon, Murong Qingqing, and the others, telling them to follow from afar and not get close. After a great battle, the two puppets in front of them were torn apart and fell to the ground. The three archaic royal family members' faces were gloomy. This was especially true for Huomuzhen and the other two. Although they had killed their opponents, they were not happy at all. Due to their carelessness, the three royal families had lost some geniuses. Even Huomuzhen had been injured. One had to know that this was simply too inconceivable. Who could injure top geniuses like them? This was only within the palace, and the time to obtain the treasures had yet to arrive. Who knew how terrifying the dangers would be at that time? Everyone's heart was heavy. Huomuzhen harumphed coldly as he collected the corpses of the geniuses of the Fire Qilin Grotto. At the same time, he collected a portion of the fragments of the fiend god golem. The same was true for the Fire Dragon King and Feng Yinxue. They would not allow the corpses of geniuses to be spread outside. After doing all this, Huomuzhen said coldly, "Everyone from Fire Qilin Cave, follow closely behind me." This time they couldn't afford to be careless. Not only the Fire Qilin Cave, but the people of the Nest of 10,000 Dragons and the Divine Emperor Ridge were also on high alert. Even Zhan Wushuang, who was in the sky, had a serious look on his face. Lin Xian, who was following behind, sneered. All of this was similar to what he had expected. Once again, he silently followed behind. Finally, the group of people left the Universe Starry Hall. After passing through the long passage, the front gradually became brighter. After exiting the passage, everyone exclaimed. This was no longer a palace, but a garden. Inside, rockery, flowing water, waterfalls, and all kinds of rare herbs were everywhere. However, most of them were ornamental and had no medicinal value. This made the people from the three primeval empires sigh. At the front, Huomuzhen's eyes flickered, and a mysterious light appeared in his eyes. Soon he arrived near a rockery and stood there with his hands behind his back. It was as if he was sensing something. This scene attracted the attention of the Fire Dragon King and Feng Yinxue. The Fire Dragon King asked, "Why is Brother Muzhen interested in the scenery here?" He didn't believe that this was just an ordinary scenery. With Huomuzhen's identity, what kind of scenery had he not seen? Why would he stay beside a rockery for so long? Could it be that there was some treasure here? Huomuzhen turned his head and revealed his white teeth. It's nothing. I'm used to seeing mountains and rivers. It's not bad to look at small bridges and flowing water. As he said that, he smiled slightly and didn't say anything else. He led the people of the Fire Qilin cave into the distance. Humph. The Fire Dragon King narrowed his eyes, while Feng Yinxue snorted. She also walked over. Her phoenix-like eyes flickered with a shocking light, and countless runes shrouded the rockery. It seemed that she wanted to see through everything. However, after looking for a long time, she didn't find anything unusual. In the end, she could only leave resentfully. The Fire Dragon King also probed and found nothing. In fact, even Zhang Wushuang and a few figures hiding in the dark did the same. They also quickly followed. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He didn't believe that Huomuzhen was doing this for no reason, unless he wanted to confuse them. He activated the heavenly secret divine eyes and observed silently. Suddenly, he exclaimed in surprise. The aura in the garden was a little strange. It seemed normal, but he discovered that there seemed to be a strange energy here. Sure enough, at that moment, the dark red divine dragon behind him also transmitted his voice. He directly used the disc array, so it was more subtle than a voice transmission. It would be difficult for those people to discover him. The dark red divine dragon said, "Kid, you've made a big discovery. This garden contained an astonishing array formation." An array. Lin Xian's eyelids twitched. Is it a killing array? Damn it, is Huomuzhen trying to kill me with a borrowed knife? It's not a killing array, but a teleportation array. Moreover, it was a very old teleportation array. It seemed that it hadn't been activated for tens of thousands of years. However, the entire array was complete. It could be activated as long as energy was injected into it. A teleportation array. Lin Xian was surprised. The dark red divine dragon's attainments in array formations were very high. There was no way it would be mistaken. He thought about Huomuzhen's previous actions and immediately understood what was going on. Huomuzhen must have been sensing whether the teleportation array was complete or not. It seems that he has already thought of a way out. Lin Xian sneered. He guessed that Huomuzhen was planning to use the teleportation array to escape from everyone's pursuit after obtaining the heavenly fire. Ruffian dragon, can you change the array? Make it ineffective. Lin Xian transmitted his voice. The dark red divine dragon was stunned for a moment. Then he became ecstatic. Are you trying to trick me, kid? That's great. I've been wanting to do that for a long time. But I have to study it. Lin Xian said that he didn't need to make too big of a move. He only needed to change one or two key positions, so that he wouldn't be able to activate it. In a moment of desperation, he would not investigate it carefully. Chapter 2966. Don't worry, leave the array to me. The dark red dragon revealed a sly smile. He began to quietly set up the teleportation array. The entire array was very ancient, but the dark red dragon's attainments in array formation were very high. Moreover, it needed to be changed slightly. Therefore, it did not take long for him to change the teleportation array. Other than them and Lin Xian, no one else knew. Murong Qingqing also secretly revealed a smile. I really want to know how those people from the Fire Qilin cave will react when they find out that the teleportation array is not working. Hee, they will probably vomit blood from anger. Shen Jingqiu was also looking forward to it. Let's go, let's follow them. The dark red dragon and the other two quietly followed behind. As they moved forward, it was even more dangerous. One of the divine Emperor Ridge's prodigies accidentally activated the mechanism and was immediately pierced by a flying sword. His soul was instantly destroyed. This scene made the others even more frightened. It was too terrifying. There were dangers everywhere in Skyfire City. They might be killed mercilessly at any time. Once they activated the mechanism, very few people could escape. In front, Huomuzhen and the others slowed down, especially Huomuzhen. The Fire Qilin's shadow circled around his body as if he was facing a great enemy. This made the Fire Dragon King and Feng Yinxue look serious. They knew that the legendary heavenly fire might not be far away. Therefore, they also activated the power of their bloodline, ready to go all out at any time. The people of the three sovereign families were also very serious. Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes. The sword qi in his body surged, and the heavenly god's eye shone with a mysterious light. Finally, after walking for another 2 hours, there was a change in front. It was an incomparably magnificent mountain. At the foot of the mountain, there was a cave. There were 2 stone doors at the entrance of the cave. The 2 stone doors were closed. The entire mountain was like a heavenly volcano, emitting a terrifying aura. Even the Fire Dragon King and the others' eyelids twitched wildly. They felt a tremor from their souls. How terrifying! Lin Xian was surprised and looked up. Through the heavenly god's eye, he saw that the huge mountain had an extremely strong power. It was the power of the fire origin between heaven and earth. Is this the place? Was there a terrifying heavenly fire buried here? The surrounding Archean prodigies discussed fervently. Huomuzhen looked at the cave in front of him with a fiery light in his eyes. On the stone door of the cave, there was a mysterious flame rune. They were vivid and lifelike, as if they were dancing divine flames. Have we arrived? Huomuzhen's face was expressionless, but his heart was wild with joy. According to the ancient texts left behind by their ancient emperor, they knew that there should be a terrifying heavenly flame buried in the cave. However, he did not dare to be careless at all. Although there were no ancient books left behind to tell him how dangerous it was inside, he knew that it was definitely much more dangerous than the outside based on the formations and mechanisms he had encountered along the way. If he wasn't careful, he might die here. Behind him, the Fire Dragon King and Feng Yinxue also walked up. Among them, the Flame Dragon King clapped his hands and laughed loudly. As expected of the Fire Qilin Cave's 7th generation Great One, he was indeed incomparably valiant. He was actually able to find the place where the heavenly fire was buried. There's no time to lose. Let's hurry up and open the cave entrance. Beside him, Feng Yinxue also could not wait. Huomuzhen snorted coldly. He did not say anything. Since they had already come here, it was impossible to retreat. He took a deep breath and said, "Let's do it together, the 2 of you." As he said that, the 3 of them pressed their palms on the red stone door. As the 3 of them unleashed their powers, the red stone door slowly opened. The heavenly fire that was originally dancing on the stone door was also divided into 2. It's open. It's finally open. Behind them, the archaic creatures were extremely excited. Even Lin Xian became nervous. He could not help but clench his fists. Squeak. He looked forward in surprise. At this moment, the stone door was completely open, revealing the scene inside. However, it was different from the cave he had imagined. It did not seem to be a cave, nor was it a palace or a pavilion. Instead, it was a strange scene. Could it be that this was a paradise on earth? Heavens, could this be a mysterious space that fell from the immortal realm? The archaic creatures also screamed. That was because the inside was too beautiful. It was completely different from what they had imagined. It was definitely a paradise. Not to mention them, even Huomuzhen was stunned. The Fire Dragon King and Feng Yinxue were also extremely surprised. Along the way, they had encountered too many dangers, formations, and traps. But now such a paradise on earth had suddenly appeared. It was difficult for them to adapt for a while. Huomuzhen looked forward and carefully sensed. Indeed, in this paradise, he felt a faint flame power. It should be the legendary heavenly fire. Thinking of this, he took a deep breath and was the first to enter. After him, the Fire Dragon King and Feng Yinxue did not want to fall behind and also entered. After the 3 peak heavenly secrets entered, they activated their king domains and bloodline power, as if they were facing a great enemy. After walking for a while, they did not find any danger. The 3 of them secretly heaved a sigh of relief. When the 10,000 archaic creatures saw this scene, they were also happy. Let's go. They all entered. In the sky, Zhan Wushuang snorted coldly, turned into a golden stream of light, and quickly rushed in. On the other side, a few mysterious figures also entered. Lin Xian also walked in. In the dark red divine dragon, and the other 2 also quietly followed in. After Lin Xian entered, he was speechless. He was surrounded by a celestial scene. But he could also sense a faint flame origin power. After entering, the 9 suns' divine fire in his body became cheerful. Dark nether grass. Heavens, it was actually dark nether grass. A prodigy of the nest of 10,000 dragons screamed. This was a spiritual medicine that no longer existed in the outside world. He was very excited. He turned into a dragon shadow and instantly rushed over to put away the dark nether grass. This scene made the surrounding archaic creatures extremely envious. Huomuzhen glanced at it and did not care. Although the dark nether grass was precious, compared to the heavenly fire, it was insignificant. His goal was the heavenly fire. As for the rest, he would not care. But gradually he changed his mind. Because as the surrounding people dispersed, screams of surprise could be heard. Metal spirit fruit. Ink flower. Fuck, could this be a king medicine? Screams could be heard. They realized that this was indeed a paradise on earth. The spirit medicines here were either extinct or king medicines. It was really enough to make people scream. Chapter 2967. Ha 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 ha, this is great. This is a great harvest. The 3 ancient royal family members were excited. Lin Xian was also happy. He did not expect to encounter so many spirit herbs here. How could he miss it? Using the yin-yang 8 steps, his speed was extremely fast. Whoosh, whoosh. At once, he picked up 2 spiritual medicines that were extinct and 1 king medicine. This scene naturally won the dissatisfaction of the others. After all, although there were many spirit herbs here, they were not cabbages. The other party had snatched 3 of them at once. How could these people tolerate this? More importantly, the other party was not a member of the immemorial theocrats. He was merely a human ant. In their eyes, such a person was an existence that they could crush at any time. Previously, they did not kill the other party because they were worried about the formation outside. Now there did not seem to be any peerless formation here, so they did not have to worry about it. And the other party was so reckless. It seemed that they had to take action and deal with this human brat in front of them. Do you think that we don't dare to make a move on you now? Without the formation, you are probably just an ant. Go to hell. Many ancient paragons walked up and stared at Lin Xian, sneering sinisterly. Obediently hand over the spirit herbs you obtained, and the great dragon sword soul. I can give you a quick death. I will give you the time of an incense stick to write the cultivation method of the 9 yang divine body. Otherwise I will break all the bones in your body. Kid, hand over the great dragon sword soul and the 9 yang divine body, and I can spare your life. I will let you be my servant, and after 1,000 years, I will set you free. These people sneered sinisterly and surrounded Lin Xian. Lin Xian closed his eyes. Why? Finally couldn't help but make a move? It was a good time to exercise his muscles and bones. His figure flashed and he took the initiative to attack. Courting death. When those people saw this scene, they roared angrily. The other party actually dared to take the initiative to attack them. Go kill him. These people shouted coldly and directly attacked. 2 figures were like gods and demons. They stretched out their large palms and grabbed at Lin Xian. One of them had red claws. He was a paragon of the nest of 10,000 dragons. The other was a prodigy of the fire Qilin cave. The flaming Qilin claw was even more dazzling. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He was so powerful. How could he be afraid of these people? The light in his eyes flickered and turned into 2 beams of divine light that pierced through the void. The whole place began to tremble. Terrifying waves of air surged to the heavens. Bang bang. The 2 primordial geniuses were sent flying. Their attacks were shattered and their bodies were penetrated by the sword qi. What? How could he be so powerful? The surrounding ancient life forms all went crazy. Lin Xian's strength had exceeded their expectations. Damn it, let's attack together. These people acted quickly. Lin Xian sneered. His figure flashed and disappeared. When he appeared, the sword light in his hand flickered and enveloped these people. Ah! Cries of surprise rang out one after another as a sword mark appeared on each of their bodies. Not only that, but they also discovered that the spiritual herbs they had just plucked had also been snatched away by a monkey. Damn it, how dare you! These prodigies were so angry that they vomited blood. They originally wanted to rob the other party, but who would have thought that not only would they fail, but they would also be robbed by the other party. Boom boom boom. Powerful auras erupted. These ancient life forms were so angry that they gritted their teeth. They finally stopped holding back. A terrifying aura surged between heaven and earth. What, you want to fight? I don't mind playing with you. Lin Xian sneered. The 9-yang divine body bloomed with light, and a terrifying sword intent also erupted. Your opponent is me. I will kill you with my own hands. In the sky, Zhan Wushuang revealed a sinister smile. He couldn't wait any longer. However, at this moment, the Fire Dragon King, Huomuzhen and Feng Yinxue frowned. Especially Huomuzhen. He discovered that after Lin Xian activated the 9-yang divine body, a terrifying flame aura surged up from the ground. This made his expression turn solemn. The Fire Dragon King also said loudly, "All of you stop." As soon as he said this, the people from the nest of 10,000 dragons retreated. Feng Yinxue also called back the people from the Divine Phoenix Ridge. They said that it was better to obtain the heavenly fire first. After all, they were already at the last step. They wouldn't give up the heavenly fire for a human brat. Alright, I'll let you live a little longer then. Zhan Wushuang didn't make a move. Instead, he looked into the distance. The heavenly fire was also tempting to him. Lin Xian sneered. This time, he had obtained another king medicine and 3 extinct spiritual herbs. To him, it could be said to be a great harvest. He happily stored these king medicines and spiritual herbs into the black earth. With his hands behind his back, he looked into the distance. He wasn't in a hurry. He would let these people fight first. After the heavenly fire came out, he would make a plan. In front of him, there was a majestic waterfall. However, what flowed in this waterfall was not water but flames. Monstrous flames and lava poured down from it. The flame aura here was very dense. Below the waterfall was a large lake. It was also incomparably fiery red and filled with lava. Huomuzhen came to the front of the flaming lake, his eyes flickering. He sensed that the heavenly fire was probably below. However, he didn't act rashly. The others didn't move either. The Fire Dragon King and Feng Yinxue's expressions were unprecedentedly solemn. They felt a sense of trepidation, as if the power below could tear them apart. Brother Muzhen, don't hide anymore. Hurry up and attack with all your might. The Fire Dragon King said in a deep voice. Feng Yinxue, who was beside him, also looked over. Huomuzhen sneered. Attack. Make a wedding dress for your disciple? He wasn't a fool. He naturally knew that when the true heavenly fire appeared, the Fire Dragon King and Feng Yinxue would attack mercilessly. Then what do you want? Feng Yinxue frowned. Huomuzhen said. It's simple. Along the way, I've been leading you to break the formation, especially into the 4th area. I've also spent a lot of trump cards and treasures. Now give me the treasures in your hands as collateral. I'm breaking the formation. Otherwise, don't even think about it. You. Feng Yinxue's face was red with anger. The Fire Dragon King nodded. No problem. Isn't it just some treasures? I'll give them to you. As he spoke, he waved his hand and a storage ring flew out. After Huomuzhen received it, he probed it with his soul and smiled with satisfaction. Very good. What about you? He looked at Feng Yinxue. Feng Yinxue's face was red, and her beautiful eyes were filled with anger. However, she still stretched out her hand and threw out a storage ring. Huomuzhen also probed it, and then put it away with satisfaction. Good. Both of you lend me a hand. We'll break the formation together and seize the heavenly fire. Alright, no problem. The two of them nodded. Buzz! Chapter 2968. With a wave of his hand, he began to crack the array. Array discs appeared one by one and were displayed by him. In front of him, the flaming lake flickered with mysterious runes and covered the surroundings. It was obvious that this was a very terrifying array. If anyone attacked rashly, they would probably be burned to ashes immediately. Buzz! Buzz! Huomuzhen's eyes focused. He held a flaming array disc in his hand, with 49 small red flags on it. Under his control, they grew in size and turned into 49 large flags that covered the sky and were inserted into the ground. Each flag was incomparably red and covered with runes. A ferocious qilin was drawn on the flag. Guomuzhen controlled the array disc with both hands. The 49 qilin flaming flags kept changing positions with raging flames on them. Waves of terrifying power burst out, enough to destroy the world. In front of him, the ancient array trembled slightly but did not break. One could imagine how terrifying this array was. You too, what are you waiting for? Guomuzhen shouted coldly at the Fire Dragon King and Feng Xinyue. The Fire Dragon King's eyes flickered. He sighed and attacked. Feng Xinyue also attacked. To be honest, the two of them did not want to attack, because it was a waste of energy to break the array. Once the array was broken, it would definitely be a chaotic battle. Without energy, it would be difficult to win the battle. Therefore, the Fire Dragon King shouted coldly, "Zhan Wushuang, are you still not going to attack?" Feng Xinyue also shouted coldly, "And those hidden in the dark, I know you are all here." However, it was impossible to reap without sowing. It seemed that Feng Xinyue wanted to drag all the hidden experts into the water. Figures appeared one by one, and some of them had gloomy faces. Damn it! This woman was so smart that she did not let anyone go. 3 more figures appeared in the surroundings. In addition to Zhan Wushuang, there was South Emperor Yin Nantian, and the last one was a pale and coquettish man. Hua Xinyan, from the Demon King Palace? Yin Nantian looked at him and said with a frown, "I didn't expect the famous South Emperor to recognize an insignificant person like me. What a surprise!" The coquettish man chuckled. Hearing this, the Fire Dragon King and the others frowned. Demon King Palace, was he from the Demon Clan? The Demon Clan was part of the 10,000 Archean tribes. However, he was different from them. The demon race had always existed and hadn't gone into hibernation. Therefore, although they were also part of the 10,000 ancient races, their relationship wasn't that close. On the contrary, the relationship between the demon race and the human race was inextricably intertwined. Lin Xian stood at the side and watched. With his heavenly fortune divine eyes, he naturally knew that someone was hiding in the dark. However, to his surprise, it was actually Yin Nantian and the people from the Fiend Imperial Palace. What was the relationship between Hua Xinyan and Hua Tiandu? Thinking about it, he should be an extremely powerful genius of the Demon Monarch Palace. This time, did Yin Ryu come? Lin Xian's eyes flickered. It had been a long time since he last saw the other party. He wondered how the other party was doing. "Alright, since they're all here, let's attack together," Guomuzhen said in a deep voice. The others nodded. As long as the formation was not broken, they would not have a chance to seize the heavenly flame even if they wanted to. Several top geniuses joined forces to break the formation. The other ancient creatures were extremely nervous. Lin Xian also retreated far away. He didn't make a move. At this moment, a golden light appeared in his eyes as he quickly analyzed the formation. At the same time, the dark red divine dragon and the others also quietly came to his side. "Kid, this formation is not simple. I reckon that their chances of success are less than 50%. Is it that difficult?" Lin Xian was surprised when he heard that. One had to know that this lineup was already very powerful. Moreover, looking at the other party's formation skills, they should be quite good. Especially the 49 qilin flags. They were a sharp weapon to break the formation. But now, they didn't even have a 50% chance of success. If the two of us work together with them, I reckon that we will have a 70% chance of success. The dark red divine dragon secretly transmitted his voice. Lin Xian nodded slightly after hearing that. The dark red divine dragon's formation skills were very strong, and his was not weak either. If the two of them worked together, the success rate would be greatly increased. However, Lin Xian would not act rashly. Especially the dark red divine dragon, he could not come out. Otherwise, Morong Qingqing and Shin Jingqiu would be in danger. Therefore Lin Xian waited silently. Boom! Countless runes flickered in front of them, and terrifying energy surged. Suddenly, a crack appeared on one of the qilin flags, and it looked very ferocious. Everyone's expression changed when they saw this scene. With a boom, the Qilin flag broke into two halves. Oh no! Many people screamed. Huomuzen's pupils also shrank. He was already prepared. He shouted coldly, and a young man walked out from among the prodigies of the fire Qilin cave. He instantly took out a flag to replace the broken one. Continue to break the formation. Huomuzen's expression was cold. He had more than one formation, so it did not matter if a flag was broken. Fortunately, he had taken the storage rings of the Fire Dragon King and Feng Yinxue. Otherwise, the loss caused by the destruction of a single banner would make him feel the pinch. However, good things did not last long. Not long after, 3 more terrifying sounds suddenly rang out, and 3 fire Qilin flags broke into 2 halves instantly. In addition, there were 4 more flags that had cracks on them. There was a loud boom. A burst of violent energy erupted, and all the Qilin flags were sent flying. In front of them, the flaming lake emitted a boundless flame power, and everyone was pushed back. Oh no! The prodigy's expressions also changed, and they quickly retreated. The void where they were originally standing was shattered, and it was burned into nothingness. Damn it, how could this be? Zhang Wushuang frowned, and the Fire Dragon King, Feng Yinxue, and the others looked solemn. Huomuzen's small face was even more ferocious. His eyes were burning, and the aura on his body was abnormally terrifying. Damn it, he had failed. He had failed. This time, too many Qilin flags were broken, so much so that he could not make up for it. However, that was impossible. This formation plate was a precious treasure of the Fire Qilin cave. Previously, it had been successful in breaking the formation, but now he could not succeed, and he had lost a lot. He could not believe it. Damn it, the power of this formation was still above his imagination. Could it be that they were going to return in failure this time? However, if they could not even get the heavenly fire, let alone the void divine furnace, in the end, they could only return with the Qilin Eye? In this way, the Qilin Crown Prince would definitely not be satisfied. In the distance, Lin Xian's eyes flickered, and he sighed in his heart. Sure enough, as the dark red divine dragon had guessed, they had failed this time. However, would the Fire Qilin cave really give up? Did they have any trump cards? He did not know. Chapter 2969. The Other Archaic Lifeform Side. The Fire Dragon King's gaze was cold, and Feng Yinxue's face turned cold. The other geniuses also looked unfriendly. Among them, Huomuzen's expression was even more ferocious. The ancient creatures of the nest of 10,000 dragons and the divine Emperor Ridge saw that there was no hope, so they prepared to search the surroundings to see if there were any more treasures. Since they couldn't get the heavenly fire, they wanted to get some more spiritual herbs to make up for their losses. The Fire Dragon King's eyes flickered as he asked, "Brother Muzhen, is there really no other way?" He didn't believe that the Fire Qilin cave only had such means. From the looks of it, the other party was obviously very familiar with Sky Flame City. How could they not have prepared some backup plans? Huomuzen shook his head. The array formation is stronger than we imagined. For a while, I have no other way. Hearing this, Feng Yinxue snorted. No other way? You took our things and said there's no other way? Then hurry up and return the storage ring to me. She was really angry. Damn it. She originally thought that the people of the Fire Qilin cave had a way to open it. But she didn't expect to be happy for nothing. How could Feng Yinxue be happy? What did you say? You want it back? Damn it, if it weren't for me, would you have been able to make it here? Huomuzen was also angry. Along the way, the people of the nest of 10,000 dragons and the divine Phoenix Ridge followed them like dogskin plaster. And the Fire Qilin cave was the one who cracked the array formation. Especially the defensive array formation on the 4th level. It consumed a lot of his treasures. But now the team actually wanted to take back the storage room? What a joke. How could he give up what he had obtained? Huomuzen's expression was cold. What did you say? Say it again? Don't think that I don't dare to attack you. A terrifying aura was emitted from his body. Feng Yinxue, who was at the side, shouted, Come on, I'm not afraid of you. Do you really think that I'm afraid of you just because you're the 7th generation? Although Feng Yingxue was the 9th generation, she didn't seem to be afraid of Huomuzhen at all. Seeing that the atmosphere was getting tenser and tenser, Lin Xian in the distance smiled. Why? Were they starting to fight? If the two sides could fight, it would be a good thing for him. Lin Xian's expression was relaxed, but on the other side, it was gloomy and worried. Especially those from the Fire Qilin cave. Each and every one of them had gloomy expressions. Their crown prince had given them the task, so if they couldn't get the heavenly flame, there was no need for them to go back. Brother Muzhen, is there really no other way? Fire Dragon King said with a frown. It was not that there was no way. Huomuzhen's voice was cold. Hearing this, everyone turned their heads with a glimmer of hope in their eyes. What method? Feng Yingxue asked quickly. The eyes of Zhan Wushuang and the others burned with passion. Huomuzhen snorted coldly and said, of course, it was to break the formation. Although this formation is powerful, it has been here for countless years. I don't believe that it is unbreakable. Besides, as long as it's a formation, there's a way to break it. If we study it patiently, we'll be able to break it one day. However, it might take a little longer. At this point, Huomuzhen looked at the people of Fire Qilin Cave and said loudly, I don't care what you guys do. My Fire Qilin Cave has to break this flame formation and obtain the heavenly flame. How confident are you? The Fire Dragon King thought for a moment and asked in a deep voice. Huomuzhen stretched out a hand. 50%. However, I'm not sure how long it'll take. It depends on how many people are willing to join forces with me. The Fire Dragon King thought for a moment and said, I'm willing to join forces with you. I'm willing too. Seeing that the Fire Dragon King had agreed, Feng Yingxue naturally did not want to fall behind. All right. Huomuzhen's eyes shone with a cold light. Great. He smiled. If the Fire Qilin Cave were to do it alone, he did not know how long it would take to break it. However, with the help of the nest of 10,000 dragons and the Divine Emperor Spirit, it would take a long time. However, it was much stronger than them. Thinking of this, they looked at Zhan Wushuang. Yan Nantian and the others, what do you think? Since you're here, how can you leave so easily? Zhan Wushuang said coldly. Hua Xinyan also nodded. They were still very young and had plenty of time to wait. Once they obtained the heavenly flame, their strength would undergo an earth-shattering change. It was definitely a good deal. Lin Xian retreated far away and looked at this scene with a cold smile. It seemed that these people were really unwilling to give up. He did not have the time to accompany these people to obtain the heavenly flame. Perhaps he should try to see if there was any other way. Thinking of this, Lin Xian activated his heavenly secret divine eyes. Countless runes appeared in his golden eyes. Suddenly, he frowned as if he felt a force. Could it be? He quickly combined and formed a rune that he had obtained in the Black Passage. In the next moment he was shocked, and a hint of surprise appeared in his eyes. That is, he saw that in the distance, in the void, there seemed to be a divine furnace spreading terrifying flames. However, when he wanted to take a closer look, he found that it was gone again. Could it be an illusion? Impossible. Lin Xian had full confidence in the heavenly secret divine eyes. If even the heavenly secret divine eyes had an illusion, probably no one would be able to see it clearly. In that case, there were other treasures in this place besides the heavenly flame? And these people did not know about this treasure. Thinking of this, Lin Xian's heart pounded wildly. Let's take a look. He secretly sent a voice transmission to the dark red divine dragon, and the other two. At the same time, he quietly retreated. Of course, he had to pretend to be disappointed. Sigh, I originally wanted to see what the heavenly flame was like. I didn't expect you guys to be so useless that you can't even open a formation. Forget it, I'll go and see if there are any king herbs that I missed. As he spoke, he strolled around the surroundings. Damn it, this kid is too despicable. Hearing this, the ancient creatures in front were so angry that they vomited blood. How dare he call them useless? What a joke! This is the incomparably mysterious Heavenly Flame City. Do you think the formation is so easy to break? Zhan Wushuang glanced at the other party, and a cold murderous intent appeared in his eyes. However, he did not make a move. The most important thing now was to think of a way to obtain the heavenly flame. As for the other party, he would deal with him after obtaining the heavenly flame. He did not believe that the other party could escape. After all, the Fire Qilin Cave had led the team along the way. Without the Fire Qilin Cave, these people would not be able to leave at all. Feeling Zhang Wushuang's gaze move away from him, Lin Xian coldly snorted in his heart. Great! It looks like these people have indeed let down their guard. Thinking of this, he slowly walked towards the place where he had seen the mysterious furnace previously. Behind him, the prodigies of the far ancient royal family gritted their teeth. Damn it, attack, kill that kid. Yes, capture him first, skin him alive, and make him suffer a fate worse than death. Chapter 2970. One of them was from the nest of 10,000 dragons, and the other seemed to be from the Fire Spirit Cave. The two of them looked at each other and smiled sinisterly. They quickly followed behind Lin Xian. On the other side, Lin Xian saw that no one was paying attention to him, so he increased his speed. The entire paradise was huge. Other than the flaming waterfall and flaming lake, there were other strange phenomena in the surroundings. In the distance there was a valley. In front of the valley, Lin Xian stopped because he saw the mysterious divine furnace in the valley. Kid, is what you said true? Are there really other treasures? The dark red dragon and the other two were still hiding in the void. They quickly asked through voice transmissions. I did see it, but I only saw it once. When I looked again, it disappeared. Don't panic. I'll try using the 3 mysterious patterns. Lin Xian's expression was solemn. He had activated one of the mysterious patterns before, and now he was going to activate another one. He wanted to see if he could see the divine furnace in the void again with 2 mysterious patterns. Countless runes flashed in his eyes, forming a mysterious pattern that shrouded the area in front of him. Sure enough, in the next moment, Lin Xian saw a divine furnace floating in the void of the valley. The divine furnace was very terrifying. There were all kinds of rare beasts on the furnace, and there were also terrifying flame runes. It was like an immortal fire. It was incomparably mysterious. There really is one? Lin Xian was delighted. However, at this moment he frowned. Beside him, the dark red dragon, Morong Qingcheng, and the others also exclaimed, "Oh no, someone's coming." They quickly retreated and put some distance between them. Lin Xian turned around and frowned as he looked behind him. Behind him, 2 rays of light flashed quickly and soon arrived near the valley. Kid, you're quite good at hiding. But do you think you can survive by hiding here? How dare you provoke us? You're dead meat. Kneel down obediently and hand over all the treasures on you. The 2 of them were very ferocious. Both of them had powerful auras that had reached 40,000 Archean power. Kid, I know you defeated by Qian Shan, but in front of us, you're still an ant. Any one of us can easily kill Bai Qianshan. We're the geniuses of the royal family. It's not something you can imagine. Now that the 2 of us have joined forces, you have no chance of survival. So kneel down obediently. Humph. A mere 40,000 units of Archean power? You dare to say such words in front of me? Lin Xian shook his head slightly. The 2 of you are no match for me. If you want to die, then go ahead. What a reckless fellow. The expression of the genius from the nest of 10,000 dragons darkened. His eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Dragon blood surged on his body, and his dragon scales shone with a dazzling light. His killing intent turned into killing swords that enlarged in the sky and slashed forward. Not good, retreat quickly. In the dark, Morong Qingqing and Shen Jinqi's expressions changed. These 2 prodigies were no weaker than the 2-headed dragon from before. Was this the prodigy of the immemorial theocrats? Every single one of them was so powerful. Lin Xian's face was full of disdain as he faced the blood-red killing swords. He stretched out a hand and grabbed forward. The sky was filled with golden light. His palm was like a god-fiend, shaking the 9 heavens. With a boom, he grabbed the blood-red killing swords and shook them forcefully. All the killing swords were shattered. I've said it before, 40,000 units of Archean power is no match for me at all. If you want to die, it'll fulfill your wish. A cold aura appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. Killing intent surged in his heart. He had to kill these two prodigies. Otherwise, the secret of the valley would be exposed. Damn it, this kid is so strange. His physique is very strong. Let's attack together. The prodigy of the nest of 10,000 dragons shouted. On the other side, the prodigy of the fire Qilin cave also nodded. He opened his mouth and spat out a small red flag. It was very similar to the Qilin flag that Huomuzhen had used previously. There was also an incomparably ferocious Qilin drawn on it. This time it wasn't just a Qilin head, but a complete Qilin pattern. As soon as it appeared, it quickly enlarged and buzzed in the sky. Terrifying flames enveloped the surroundings. Kid, go to hell. The heavenly secret of the fire Qilin cave grabbed the red flag and waved it nonstop. Terrifying energy erupted and swept over. On the other side, the prodigy of the nest of 10,000 dragons also sneered. He took out a purple spear and stabbed it out, piercing through all directions. If the two of them attacked together, they could definitely kill the other party easily. However, they were wrong. The current Lin Xian was no longer the same as before. He had 50,000 units of Archean power. Even if the other party joined forces, they wouldn't be able to pose any threat to him. Sure enough, Lin Xian punched out with both fists, and the 9 suns' divine flames burned fiercely. Destroy. The punch landed on the red Qilin flag, causing it to dim and lose its luster. It broke into 2 halves from the middle. With his other hand, he grabbed the dragon-shaped spear and broke it into 6 pieces. In an instant, their magic treasures shattered. The two of them were also impacted and vomited blood. Their eyes were filled with shock and horror. Damn it, impossible. How can you be so strong? They were about to go crazy. The two of them had 40,000 units of Archean power. How terrifying was it when they joined forces? There was probably no one in the human race who could be compared to them. But now, the ant in their eyes had actually shattered their weapons so easily. He even caused them to suffer internal injuries. This scene was simply like a dream. Damn it, this kid has been hiding his strength. His strength is above 40,000 units of Archean power. No, I have to report this to the 7th generation. The expressions of the two changed drastically. They realized that they had been careless. The other party had been hiding his strength. He must be up to something. The two of them turned around and wanted to leave. You still want to leave? Stay. Lin Xian's eyes erupted with a piercing cold light. How could he let the two of them leave? So in the next moment he pulled out the fire Qilin sword. With a stab of the sword, 2 heads flew up, and their souls were instantly destroyed. Lin Xian didn't hold back at all with this sword. Puff. Puff. Blood burst out, dyeing the ground red. The two of them widened their eyes with infinite fear. They didn't expect the other party to kill them so easily. The 9 suns' divine fire appeared in Lin Xian's palm, and he wanted to burn the 2 corpses to ashes. However, he didn't notice that a portion of the blood of the 2 prodigies flew into the valley and landed in the void. That was the blood of Archean prodigies, and it was the blood of dragons and Qilin beads. It had a mysterious power. Therefore, when it landed in the valley, it finally alarmed the mysterious furnace. Buzz. Crack. Crack. The surrounding void shattered, and a terrifying power surged out, causing the entire world to lose its light. Violent tremors came, as if a god was awakening. Oh no! Chapter 2971. The dark red divine dragon, and the other 2 had long been pushed far away. Lin Xian also used the yin-yang 8 steps, turned into a stream of light, and left in an instant. As soon as he left, a ball of flame rippled out from the valley. It was completely formed by interweaving runes and spread in all directions. In an instant, the void shattered, and the corpses of the 2 archaic prodigies were instantly burned into dry corpses and fell to the ground. In front of the flaming lake, Huomuzhen, Fire Dragon King, and the other top heaven rankers did not immediately make a move. They sat down cross-legged and prepared to adjust their bodies to their peak. Then they would make a move. Suddenly, they felt a terrifying fluctuation coming from afar. Buzz! These people all opened their eyes in shock and bewilderment. Damn it, what happened? Such a terrifying power. Could it be that someone triggered a peerless array formation? As they spoke, the expressions of these top prodigies changed. Because they knew that many archaic creatures were looking for spiritual herbs in the surroundings. Perhaps someone had accidentally touched the array formation. If that was the case, things would be troublesome. Damn it, let's go and take a look. Feng Yinxue shouted and took the lead. Fire Dragon King and the others also soared into the sky. They turned into streams of light and flew into the distance. In front of the valley, the void slowly healed, and Lin Xian landed on the ground again with a gloomy expression. That attack just now was very terrifying, enough to destroy everything. Perhaps only a saint would be able to withstand it. However, the strange thing was that the surroundings did not collapse. It should be related to Skyfire City. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, Fire Dragon King and the others arrived near the valley. They floated in the sky and looked down frowning. When they saw the two charred corpses on the ground and Lin Xian, they were instantly enraged. Damn brat, how dare you? They roared crazily. Damn it, the other party is so reckless. They could not tolerate the fact that he dared to kill the disciples of the archaic royal family. Soon, their gazes were attracted by the things in the ravine. Someone screamed. What is that? Heavens, could it be that it's a treasure? Many people screamed. Many primordial creatures had already arrived. They looked into the valley and saw the divine furnace floating in the void. They were extremely shocked. In the sky, the pupils of the Fire Dragon King, Feng Yinxue, and the others also shrank. They felt a tremor in their souls. The aura emanating from the divine furnace was simply too terrifying. The flames dancing on them were capable of easily annihilating them. In the sky, Huomuzhen looked at the valley, and his pupils shrank. What is this? His face was filled with shock and disbelief. He looked as though he had seen a ghost. The other sky prides from the Fire Spirit Cave were also shocked. Why is this thing here? They were all stunned. Seeing this scene, the Fire Dragon King frowned while Feng Yingxi's face darkened. Damn it, do you know there's a treasure here? He was truly mad with anger. This Fire Chilling Cave's people were too hateful. He knew that there was a treasure, yet he kept it a secret. If it weren't for the energy fluctuations, they would have been kept in the dark. Zhan Wushuang and the others also came and went. Huomuzhen also coldly snorted. I don't know either. This thing is here, so I have no reason to lie to you. So, you still know about the existence of the treasure? Feng Yinxue did not back down. Huomuzhen sneered. What a joke, why should I tell you? Besides, do you think you have the strength to obtain this void divine furnace? You can't even get the heavenly fire, and you still want the void divine furnace? What a joke. As soon as these words came out, everyone's heart skipped a beat. Indeed, the aura emanating from the void ahead was too terrifying. A wisp of flame could probably kill them instantly. To obtain such a treasure, at least a saint had to make a move. Below, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Void Divine Furnace, so this treasure was called the Void Divine Furnace. It seemed that the people from the Fire Chilling Cave had long known about the existence of this treasure. Damn it, he really knows a lot about this. What other secrets did they know? Above, Feng Yinxue and the others also landed. They looked at the Void Divine Furnace in the valley ahead with flickering eyes. I don't believe it. Is it really as powerful as you said? As she spoke, she formed a seal with her palms and spat out a drop of blood essence. Accompanied by flames, it turned into a phoenix and rushed forward. Everyone watched with rapt attention. As soon as the blood-colored phoenix arrived at the valley, it was attacked by a terrifying attack and was instantly enveloped by countless flames. Boom! In an instant, it was burned to ashes and no longer existed. What? So powerful? Many Archean creatures screamed. Feng Yingxi's eyelids twitched wildly. She knew the power of this attack. However, they could not even rush into the valley. One could imagine how terrifying the valley ahead was. The Fire Dragon King, Zhan Wushuang, and the others also looked solemn. Huomuzhen sneered. Don't waste your energy. The Void Divine Furnace is protected by the 8 Barons Divine Fire Array. That array is even more terrifying than the array that protects the Heavenly Fire. We can't even break the Heavenly Fire Array, let alone the 8 Barons Divine Fire Array. Many people sighed. It seemed that the void divine furnace was much more difficult to obtain than the heavenly fire. They had to think of a way to break the heavenly fire array. Perhaps they could even obtain the heavenly fire. If they stayed here, not only would they not be able to break the array, but they would also be in danger. As everyone prepared to leave, Huomuzhen stared at Lin Xian. He said in a deep voice, "Kid, tell me, how did you find this place?" At this point, an incomparably terrifying killing intent surged from his body. Although the two corpses on the ground had been roasted into charcoal, he could still sense that one of the corpses belonged to the Fire Qilin cave. As soon as he said this, everyone looked at Lin Xian. This kid was a living eyewitness. Perhaps they could find out some information from him. Lin Xian snorted coldly. "I came here to look for the Herb King. However, you 10,000 Archean tribes were reckless and insisted on barging into the valley. In the end, you were burned into a dried corpse." Lin Xian would not say that he had found the void divine furnace on his own initiative. That was impossible. Huomuzhen frowned. If the void divine furnace had been here all along, we would have sensed it. It was obvious that it did not appear before. It must have appeared because you triggered some array mechanism. Tell me, what is going on? Zhan Wushuang sneered. There was no need to talk nonsense. It would be more convenient to capture him and search his soul. As soon as he finished speaking, he reached out a large hand and grabbed Lin Xian's head. It seemed that he wanted to seal Lin Xian, and then forcefully take his soul. "Do you think I'm really afraid of you?" Lin Xian was also angry. This Zhan Wuhan had provoked him again and again. Did he really think that he was a pushover? Chapter 2972. Boom. The flaming sword streaked across the sky, emitting a dazzling light. With the roar of a dragon, it collided with the giant palm in the sky. With a loud boom, the giant palm was pushed back. What? This scene made the surrounding Archean prodigies' expressions change. This kid actually blocked Zhan Wushuang's attack? Even the Fire Dragon King and the others frowned. How could this kid be so strong? Could it be that he had been hiding all this time? Feng Yingxue and the others also stared at Lin Xian, trying to see through him. Zhan Wushuang's face darkened. It was beyond his expectations that Lin Xian could block his attack. "No wonder you dare to be so arrogant in front of me. Today you will definitely die. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Come, let's fight to the death." Lin Xian was furious. Since he could not obtain the heavenly fire or the illusionary divine furnace, he might as well fight to his heart's content. With that, he rose into the sky and flew into the distance. "Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish." Zhan Wushuang sneered. Although Lin Xian could block his attack, he did not care. Just now, it was just a casual attack. He did not believe that Lin Xian could block his attack with his full strength. Therefore, he turned into a stream of light and rushed into the distance. "Damn it! The few of you should go and take a look." Huomuzhen ordered his Archean creatures to follow him secretly. At the same time, the Archean creatures of the three Imperials flew into the distance. Firstly, they wanted to see how strong Lin Xian was. If Lin Xian was really captured, they could not let Zhan Wushuang take advantage of him. In the dark, Morong Qingqing and Xin Jingqie were extremely nervous. The dark red divine dragon transmitted his voice to them. "Don't worry, that kid should be fine. Don't forget. He has 50,000 Archean power now. Let's stay here and take a look. These guys. What should they do next?" Huomuzhen was not too worried since he had sent people to keep an eye on Zhan Wushuang and Lin Xian. If anything happened, he would rush over immediately. Therefore, he planned to go back and crack the array to see if he could obtain the heavenly fire. The Fire Dragon King and the others had the same plan. However, Yan Nantian did not leave. Not only that, he even walked towards the valley ahead. What was this guy trying to do? Could it be that he had gone mad? This scene surprised Huomuzhen and the others. The surrounding Archean creatures exclaimed in shock. The Crimson Divine Dragon and the others also frowned. Rumor had it that this guy had obtained the inheritance of a great emperor. How terrifying would his means be? But no matter what he did, he couldn't block that terrifying flame. Therefore, everyone was very confused. What was Yan Nantian trying to do? Whoosh. Lin Xian landed on the plains. In the sky, Zhan Wushuang sneered and looked down like a demon. Brat, have you chosen a place to be buried? But don't worry. I won't kill you so easily. I'll catch you first. I'll take your soul. Then I will pull out your tendons and flay your bones. I will let you know. This is the result of provoking my battle clan. Zhan Wushuang's murderous aura soared to the sky, causing the surrounding void to tremble. Humph. Lin Xian didn't say anything. He pulled out the blazing Qilin sword and slashed forward. This scene made the Archean Paragon's eyelids twitch wildly. Was this brat crazy? He actually dared to fight Zhan Wushuang? Zhan Wushuang was comparable to our 7th generation lord. He was a top-notch sky pride. How could this brat block him? Just wait and see. He's definitely dead. These people watched the battle from afar with cold smiles on their faces. What a reckless brat. Zhan Wushuang was furious. His eyes shone with a cold light. Who was he? How strong was he? Even the Fire Dragon King and the others wouldn't dare to attack him. However, this brat in front of him dared to attack him. He swore that he would make this brat regret it. Scram. With a cold shout, his fist moved forward. Heavenly Divine Fist. A terrifying fist shadow bombarded the sword chi. The sword chi was sent flying into the void, creating a terrifying and bottomless crack in the void. This scene made the Archean Paragon's eyelids twitch wildly. How could this brat's swordsmanship be so powerful? He had indeed concealed his strength. It seemed that his Archean power was above 40,000. Damn it, how was this possible? The Archean race's faces darkened. This was already comparable to them. They were the high and mighty dragons with the bloodline of the Dragon Emperor. That was why they were so powerful. How could a human ant be so powerful? He wasn't the descendant of Atharch. Zhan Wushuang's face darkened. This time his strength had increased again. However, it only managed to knock away the sword chi that wasn't his opponent's. This made him realize that the brat in front of him was very powerful. It was beyond his expectations. However, he was confident that he could kill this brat. However, before he could do anything, Lin Xian attacked again. Interesting. No wonder you dare to kill me. Unfortunately, it was a pity. Next, I'll let you have a taste of my 9 sons' swordsmanship. Lin Xian's voice was sonorous as the divine fire on his body surged. The blazing Qilin sword in his hand emitted thousands of rays of light. All the spiritual energy in the world turned into seawater and gathered toward the long sword in his hand. Buzz. The blazing Qilin sword seemed to have come alive as its light intensified. There was even the shadow of a blazing Qilin shining. This scene instantly made the Archean Paragons who were watching the battle from afar change their expressions. Damn it, that's the blazing Qilin sword. Why is the blazing Qilin cave's treasure sword in his hands? These people are crazy. However, they didn't have time to think too much because Lin Xian had attacked. He slashed out with his sword, which turned into a divine rainbow and slashed directly at Zhan Wushuang. In the sky, sword light flashed and descended from the sky like a fiery dragon. The terrifying power pierced through all directions. Humph. You overestimate yourself. I'll let you know the difference between us. Zhan Wushuang's eyes shone brightly. He clenched his hand into a fist and punched out like a god's fist. The entire world trembled as countless large cracks erupted. Clang. This fist collided with the longsword again, making a clang sound and sending the longsword flying. However, that godlike fist had also disappeared. However, the power on Zhan Wushuang's body was becoming more and more terrifying. In particular, his eyes seemed to have turned into 2 divine lamps as his cold killing intent locked onto Lin Xian. Kid, you've completely angered me. He rose into the air and strode towards Lin Xian. In the distance, the Archean Paragons were extremely shocked. He blocked it again. The 2 of them were actually evenly matched. Damn it, that's impossible. That kid definitely can't be so strong. It must be the sword in his hand. That should be a sage-level artifact. The Archean Paragons of the Nest of 10,000 Dragons said coldly. The Paragons of the Fire Qilin Cave gritted their teeth. That's right, the blazing Qilin sword is definitely the treasure sword of our Fire Qilin Cave. Chapter 2973. Damn it, I have to get to the bottom of this. How did he get it? They were going crazy. That sword belongs to one of the Fire Qilin Cave's prodigies. However, it's in his hands now. Could it be that something happened to their prodigy? Now, I can't get out of here. Only by capturing him can I find out what happened outside. In front, Lin Xian looked at Zhang Wushuang, who was walking towards him, and sneered. He waved his arm and attacked again. With a slash of his sword, the terrifying sword qi turned into a fire qilin and roared. Roar. The power of this slash was even more terrifying. As soon as the fire qilin appeared, it suppressed all directions. Countless large cracks appeared in the void and a black hole appeared. As if it was connected to hell, the fire qilin roared in the black hole. Damn it, how can he be so powerful? In the distance, the Archean prodigy's body started to tremble. Zhang Wushuang also frowned, and a trace of seriousness appeared in his eyes. He had to admit that he had underestimated his opponent. That sword technique is indeed very powerful. But so what? He shouted coldly, clenched his fist and attacked again. Boom, 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 boom. Each of them was like the sun. Not only that, but his body also swayed, and his speed was extremely fast. He tore through the void and charged towards Lin Xian. That was because he was completely enraged. He did not intend to be entangled with his opponent anymore. He wanted to capture his opponent in the most ferocious manner, and forcibly take his soul. Whoosh! In an instant he arrived in front of Lin Xian. Go to hell, kid. He revealed a sinister smile and attacked with thunder. His large hand carried a sky full of lightning and struck in all directions, completely enveloping Lin Xian. Lin Xian's body was penetrated by the lightning and disappeared. Oh no! An afterimage. Zhang Wushuang's pupils constricted. He could feel a biting cold murderous intent coming from behind him. A sword light cut through the void and slashed towards his back. God of War armor. Zhang Wushuang roared, and mysterious runes appeared on his body. They quickly intertwined and formed an armor to protect his body. At the same time, he changed his position and quickly dodged. Clang! When the sword landed on the divine battle armor, an earth-shattering sound rang out, causing Zhang Wushuang to be knocked back. The second sword slashed down from the sky. However, Zhang Wushuang dodged it. The sword brushed past his opponent's body, and only managed to cut off a strand of his hair. What? Zhang Wushuang was pushed back. Seeing this scene, the other paragons felt their scalps go numb. Originally, they were here to keep an eye on Zhang Wushuang. After all, after Zhang Wushuang captured Lin Xian, they had to report it to their 7th-generation lord. But now, they realized that it was really a problem whether Zhang Wushuang could catch Lin Xian. The current Lin Xian was simply too strong. He was so strong that it exceeded their expectations. In fact, there were quite a few people who were trembling so much that they were on the verge of kneeling down. Damn brat, I want you dead. Zhang Wushuang soared into the sky and stood in the void like a celestial demon. Mysterious runes appeared on his body. Forming a series of hand seals, Zhang Xian swiped his hands across the air. The void where he was became extremely distorted, as if it had turned into chaos. How terrifying. What kind of cultivation technique is this? Why do I feel that he has distorted the entire space? The other paragons in the distance screamed. Indeed. Lin Xian unleashed a series of golden sword auras at his opponent. However, the sharp sword qi became distorted in front of his opponent. None of the sword strikes could break through the space. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian frowned. The other paragons in the distance also exclaimed. Damn it, this Zhang Wushuang was too strong and strange. These people from the war tribe were all lunatics. They were born to fight, so they definitely had many mystiques and cultivation techniques. They were not weaker than the Silver tribe. As the top paragons of the younger generation of the war tribe, Zhang Wushuang's strength was indeed terrifying. Even such a terrifying sword qi could be neutralized by him. It was truly unbelievable. Lin Xian was also surprised. Originally, he had suppressed Zhang Wushuang with a few sword strikes. He thought that he could win easily. He did not expect his opponent to have some tricks up his sleeve, especially now that his opponent was standing in a distorted space. It was as if he had changed the entire world. He caused all the sword chi to deviate from him. Interesting. As expected of the top paragons of the war tribe, Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. He attacked again. He waved his sword again and again. At this moment, Lin Xian executed the nine-yang sword technique and displayed a powerful force. Flames flickered in the sky, and the entire world seemed to be melting. Just the sword chi alone made the paragons in the distance tremble, because they realized that they could not block the other party's sword chi. While they were shocked, they also felt a strong sense of fear. Buzz buzz buzz. At first, Zhan Wushuang could still distort space and change the direction of the sword chi, so that they could not get close. But later, Zhan Wushuang's expression changed. He was originally confident and calm, but he was shocked again, because he realized that the other party's sword chi could directly break through the void. He had a mystique that could turn the void into nothingness, but he could not. The other party's sword chi contained an aura that could destroy everything. Damn it, it was the great dragon sword soul. Zhan Wushuang gritted his teeth. As a member of the war tribe, he had a deeper understanding of the great dragon sword soul than the other paragons. He knew that the great dragon sword soul could destroy everything. Therefore, he did not intend to passively defend anymore. He was prepared to take the initiative to attack. Buzz. A long saber appeared in the sky, emitting a bright light as it was held in his hand. Bright moon saber. Could it be that treasure? In the distance, a paragon from the nest of 10,000 dragons exclaimed. His eyes flickered as he stared at the saber in the sky. That's right, it was the bright moon saber. He did not expect Zhan Wushuang to have the bright moon saber. It was not weaker than the fire spirit sword. That's right, that kid did not have the advantage of a weapon. Could he continue to suppress Zhan Wushuang? It would be very difficult. He would probably be suppressed and might even be killed. In the distance, the paragon sneered again. Zhan Wushuang's aura erupted. His eyes were sharp, and his black hair danced wildly. It was as if he had turned into an unstoppable saber god. Kid, the game is over. Zhan Wushuang waved the bright moon saber, and saber lights that were like full moons pressed down from the sky. The saber light flashed, and killing intent soared into the sky, causing the expressions of the paragons in the distance to change again. Too powerful. I can't block his saber at all. Damn it. This guy can definitely compete with our Lord Fire Dragon King. He is actually not weaker than the 9th generation Lord. They were all stunned. At this moment, Zhan Wushuang was incomparably powerful. Every slash of his saber sent the flaming sword chi flying. Countless large cracks appeared in the sky. Fortunately, this was the incomparably mysterious Sky Flame City. Otherwise, this attack would definitely be able to sink everything within a radius of 1,000,000 miles. Chapter 2974. Soon, Zhan Wushuang split the sea of fire in the sky apart. Then he strode forward. Go to hell, brat. He slashed down again, and the sharp saber light emitted a terrifying aura. It was as if a heavenly river had descended from the sky and slashed toward Lin Xian. The commotion here had already alarmed the ancient royal families in the distance. A few figures were hurrying over. However, most of them did not move. The Fire Dragon King, Feng Yinxue, Yin Nantian, and Huaxinyan all frowned. They naturally felt that there was an earth-shattering battle in the distance. In fact, even they were surprised by that surge of energy. In the dark, Morong Qingqing and Shen Jingqie were also very nervous. The dark red divine dragon also frowned, but at this moment, no one left. Their gazes were fixed in front of them. At this moment, something even more shocking was happening in the valley. This was even more terrifying than the battle between the top prodigies. Therefore, although they knew that Lin Xian and Zhan Wushuang were fighting in the distance, no one went over. On the other side, the ancient prodigies who were watching the battle also kept retreating. It couldn't be helped. The battle ahead was simply too terrifying. The saber light soared into the sky and turned into a murderous sword chi. The entire sky was shaking. If they did not retreat, they would probably be cut in half. A saber light like this was enough to kill these prides of the primeval theocrats. How could they not be shocked? Lin Xian also felt a great resistance, but he was not afraid. His eyes shone with a cold light, and the divine fire on his body surged. The dragon soul in his body roared. He used the blazing Qilin sword to perfection, and each strike was extremely terrifying. It collided with the bright moon saber. Each time, it was an earth-shattering collision. Buzz! The long sword danced, and endless flames danced on the blade, turning into a scorching sun. It kept rotating and squeezing, filling the sky as if it was going to crush the entire world. A monstrous scorching aura was emitted. The sea of fire surged and shrouded the entire sky. At this moment there were raging flames everywhere, enough to destroy and melt everything. Buzz! On the other side, Zhan Wushuang roared as well. The bright moon saber in his hand shone brightly. Under the blade, a crescent moon was formed. It emitted a cold aura that could freeze everything. The 9 suns and the luminous moon were two completely opposite forces. When they collided, it was truly enough to destroy the world. Boom! Those primordial geniuses were sent flying. They screamed crazily. Lord 7th, come quickly. Lord Dragon King, we can't hold on any longer. They were furious, waiting for the arrival of the Flame Dragon King and Huomuzhen. Together, they suppressed Lin Xian. Otherwise, the other party might really overturn the situation. However, no matter how they shouted, no one came over. The Fire Dragon King and the others did not appear. The Archean prodigies were terrified. Damn it, what happened? Could it be that something had happened in the valley? They dared not imagine. They wanted to investigate, but at this moment between heaven and earth, between the sky and earth, the cold moonlight enveloped everything, cutting off all probing. The archaic paragons could only dodge with all their might to protect themselves. Damn it! What the hell is going on? They could not figure it out. Finally, in the midst of endless fear, between heaven and earth, the blazing flames disappeared, and so did the terrifying moonlight. The void regained its clarity. Only the large cracks were rapidly healing. Lin Xian and Zhan Wushuang stood in the void, facing each other. The aura on their bodies did not weaken at all. Instead, it became even more piercing. It made the Archean prodigies feel dizzy. Damn it! How could the two of them be so strong? They are not from the royal family, but they are even more terrifying than us. Had Zhan Wushuang and that human kid reached such a heaven-defying stage? This was really a huge disaster. They wondered if the Fire Dragon King and the 7th Lord could suppress the two of them. The Archean prodigies were terrified. On the other side, Zhan Wushuang was even more shocked. To be honest, in his opinion, the other party had always been an ant. Although he was a human prodigy, in front of him, he could not withstand a single blow. He could easily suppress the other party with a wave of his hand. But now? He had already used the luminous moonblade, and it was a peerless blade technique. However, he could not do anything to the other party. At one point, he was even suppressed by the other party. It was only because he had a battle constitution and a treasured blade in his hand that he could withstand the other party's attacks. Otherwise, if it were the other Archean prodigies, they would have been killed long ago. No, this kid had the 9-yang divine constitution and the dragon sword soul. If he was allowed to continue growing, he would definitely be a powerful enemy. It would be difficult to contend with him on the path to becoming a great emperor in the future. Therefore, he had to eliminate him today. Thinking of this, Zhan Wushuang's eyes were filled with killing intent. He decided that he could not let the other party continue to grow. You want to kill me? I think you should go to hell first. Lin Xian sneered. He also had the intention to kill, because he also realized that the other party was very powerful. One should know that an ordinary prodigy, even the 10th generation grandchild, would have been killed by him. But now, the other party was actually evenly matched with him. He had to admit that the war tribe was indeed a very mysterious and terrifying race. He could not let the other party continue to grow. He moved the blazing Qilin sword in his hand, and the divine fire on his body burned. At this moment, he seemed to have turned into a sword god. He merged with the blazing Qilin sword, and a powerful sword aura swept in all directions. A sword light flew across the 9 heavens, and flew out towards Zhan Wushuang. Zhan Wushuang snorted. It's useless. No matter how strong you are, you can't hurt me. He waved the bright moon blade and faced the attack. Heavens, that blade can kill us instantly. But the other party easily neutralized it. The Archean prodigies in the distance felt their scalps go numb. Seeing that the other party had neutralized the sword, Lin Xian looked very calm. His eyes were very calm, because all of this was within his expectations. In the next moment, the dragon sword soul in his body was activated and let out a loud dragon roar. The 9-yang divine fire on his body was constantly rotating. It formed mysterious runes one after another. Buzz! In the sky, the sword light shone and turned into a fire dragon that charged towards Zhan Wushuang again. Zhan Wushuang snorted and waved the bright moon blade in front of him. With a clang, it struck the blazing Qilin sword aura and exploded into a shocking vibration. But this time it was not sent flying. Not only that, the fire dragon roared and the flames on its body surged into the sky. It continued to attack Zhan Wushuang. The bright moon blade in Zhan Wushuang's hand danced continuously and turned into a silver river. Damn it, what kind of sword aura is this? Zhan Wushuang's face changed again. The sword aura this time was far beyond his imagination. It was as if he was not facing the sword aura, but a real dragon. A monstrous fire dragon. Kill. Chapter 2975. One strike after another. A fire dragon flew out with each strike. Hundreds of sword energies were released in a row, causing the entire sky to explode. Countless fire dragons surged and roared as they charged towards Zhan Wushuang. This scene caused the primordial elites to scream in horror. Damn it! How could he have such power? Impossible, that fire dragon sword energy should be his trump card. It was already impressive that he could use it once. How could he use it hundreds of times in a row? These people were all stunned. In their opinion, the fire dragon sword energy was so powerful that it must be a powerful killing move. Since it was called a killing move, it couldn't be used too much. However, Lin Xian's actions had completely exceeded their expectations. They were all stunned. Especially those from the nest of 10,000 dragons. Their bodies were trembling. Damn it, I can actually feel the suppression of my bloodline and soul. They were about to vomit blood. They were real dragons, but in front of this sword energy, they couldn't help but kneel and tremble. Zhan Wushuang's expression also changed. His gaze was gloomy as he used his terrifying battle strength to send all the fire dragons flying. But gradually his heart sank, because Lin Xian continued to attack. He seemed to have endless divine power. Soon, thousands of fire dragons surged out and enveloped the entire world. They even engulfed Zhan Wushuang. These fire dragon sword energies were evolved from the 9-yang sword technique and the great dragon sword soul. They were really powerful. Just one of them was enough to kill all the primeval theocrats. At this moment, thousands of fire dragons attacked together and surrounded Zhan Wushuang. They really had the power to destroy heaven and earth. Those primordial elites fainted from fright. All the space in the entire immortal realm was trembling. Other than the valley that was still intact, the other places were all covered in terrifying cracks. Ah! Zhan Wushuang roared as he used his bloodline power and activated his unparalleled battle body. With the bright moon saber in hand, he slashed in all directions like a demon king. He sent all the fire dragons flying. But gradually his expression changed. This was because every time he sent one flying, 10 fire dragons would rush over. When he sent 2 flying, hundreds of fire dragons would rush over. No matter how powerful he was, he couldn't resist such a terrifying sword energy. Damn it, how could the other party be so strong? Could it be that his power wouldn't be exhausted? For the first time, Zhan Wushuang felt fear. After killing more than 500 fire dragons in a row, Zhan Wushuang's expression was solemn. This scene directly subdued the elites watching from afar. In their eyes, this was simply a godlike existence. However, what made them even more alarmed was that the number of fire dragons in the sky did not decrease. Instead, it increased, as if they were endless. Finally, under such a terrifying attack, Zhan Wushuang showed a flaw. The 3 fire dragons crashed into his body and sent him flying. Fortunately, He had an unparalleled battle body, which gave him a strong physique and a top-level armor. Even so, his armor was still shattered. Zhan Wushuang spat out a mouthful of blood that dyed the sky red. Zhan Wushuang roared crazily. His eyes were like lightning as he looked into the distance. In the endless void, Lin Xian held the killing sword in his hand and stepped on the dancing fire dragons. Countless dragon shadows floated around him. At this moment, he was like the supreme dragon emperor, making people tremble. Damn it! Seeing this scene, Zhan Wushuang's eyelids twitched. He knew that he couldn't continue this battle. After killing more than 500 fire dragons, he was already injured. At this moment, there were thousands of fire dragons around him. How could he fight? Let's go! Zhan Wushuang snorted coldly and decided to retreat. Firstly, he was no longer confident in this battle. Lin Xian's strength was far beyond his imagination. Secondly, he was very puzzled. Logically speaking, such an earth-shattering scene should have alarmed the entire space. Why didn't the Fire Dragon King and the others come? Could it be that something had happened in the valley? He didn't know. He had to go over and take a look. His body swayed, and he tore open the void and flew into the distance. You want to leave? Do you think you can? Lin Xian sneered and waved his sword. Countless fire dragons rushed out and attacked Zhan Wushuang. Damn it, get out of my way! Zhan Wushuang roared and swept his right leg. It turned into a divine spear and blasted away some of the fire dragons that flew over. He blasted away a total of 5 fire dragons, but there were even more that came towards him. Kid, do you really want to force me to kill you? Zhan Wushuang roared and the bloodline power in his body surged. A powerful force suppressed all directions. He was really angry. His opponent had gone too far. He guessed that his opponent must have used all his trump cards to kill him. He didn't want to fight, but it didn't mean that he was afraid of his opponent. That was because he still had a few powerful killing moves that he hadn't used yet. As long as he used them, it wouldn't be difficult to kill his opponent. However, he wanted to use these trump cards to fight for the heavenly fire and the mysterious divine cauldron. Therefore, he didn't want to use them now. However, if his opponent really didn't know what was good for him, he didn't mind using some of his trump cards to kill the detestable kid in front of him. Going too far? Lin Xian sneered. Back then, when you attacked me time and time again, did you think of going too far? Now that you can't beat me, you think you're going too far? What a joke! As he spoke, he swung his sword a few more times. Suddenly, the fire dragons that filled the sky hit the bright moon saber and made it tremble continuously. The light on the saber dimmed a lot. Zhan Wushuang's armor was shattered and many parts fell off. His body was also charred black. It was burned by the 9 suns' divine fire. Buzz! The bright moon saber was almost sent flying by the impact of 300 fire dragons. This time, Zhan Wushuang's injuries were even more serious. Blood stained his body red. Damn kid, I definitely won't let you off. The next time I see you, I'll definitely kill you. After saying this, Zhan Wushuang turned around and fled. The Archean paragons below were all stunned. What? Zhan Wushuang fled? The extremely powerful top paragons, Zhan Wushuang actually fled? And the person who chased after him was actually a human kid? This made everyone feel like they were dreaming. It was unreal. Where did he run to? Lin Xian snorted coldly. Stepping on the dragon shadow, he quickly gave chase. In the mysterious valley, the Fire Dragon King, Huomuzhen, Feng Yinxue, and the others were stunned. Even the dark red divine dragon and the others were dumbfounded. To be honest, the battle in the distance made them anxious. They wanted to see how the battle was going. However, they didn't leave because something even more shocking happened in front of them. At that time, they wanted to leave, but Yan Nantian stood out and prepared to enter the valley. This scene made Huomuzhen and the others' expressions change. They frowned. Chapter 2976. Although the other party was powerful, he should be on par with them. Even they, who had the royal bloodline, did not dare to enter, but the other party dared to try. Did he want to die? Oh, Brother Yan, you want to enter the valley? Hua Xinyan asked with a smile. Yin Nantian did not say anything. His expression was solemn, and his body exuded a mysterious aura. Mysterious runes surged out of his body and surrounded him. Soon he arrived in front of the valley. If he took another step forward, he would enter the valley. Those people's hearts were also in their mouths. Previously, Fengshua City had cast a blood-colored phoenix, but it was burned to ashes by the terrifying divine fire inside the valley. One could imagine that the divine fire inside was enough to threaten them. They did not know where Yin Nantian got his confidence from to fight against these things. Could it be that he had a treasure in his hands? Did this kid have a sacred artifact? They did not know. Yin Nantian's expression was extremely solemn. He stared at the divine furnace in the valley. Buzz. A piercing light burst out from his eyes. He formed a seal with his palms, and mysterious runes rushed into the sky one after another. As soon as the runes appeared, the world changed. A violent energy rushed out, causing the Fire Dragon King and the others to tense up. Hua Muzhen also felt that the blood in his body seemed to be melting. Fengshu's expression changed drastically. Oh no! What's this? They quickly retreated to the back. In the dark red divine dragon, and the others also changed their expressions and quickly retreated. Fortunately, they were not close to the valley. At this moment, only Yin Nantian was left in front of the valley. There were 9 mysterious runes flashing around him. Are these Taoist runes? Feeling the shocking power, the Archean prodigies trembled. The Fire Dragon King and the others were extremely solemn. They stared at the 9 ancient runes. They shook their heads slightly. To be honest, they did not understand what these runes were. Judging by the aura, they must be Taoist runes. It was too terrifying. Even they felt like they were being penetrated. However, the other party was not a saint. How could he use Taoist runes? Taoist runes were condensed from the laws of heaven and earth, and were used by saints. Unless, of course, the other party had the legendary born Taoism aptitude, which allowed them to fuse with the Taoism since birth, allowing them to cast Taoist patterns even before they became a saint. However, they had never heard that Yin Nantian had such a constitution. Damn it, this guy actually has such a trump card. Once these 9 talismans that were close to Tao patterns appeared, they might really be able to allow the other party to enter the valley. Sure enough, the 9 mysterious runes revolved around Yin Nantian, providing him with great power. Yin Nantian took a deep breath, then took a step forward and entered the valley. As soon as he entered, countless divine flames appeared in the valley and surged toward him. Fortunately, these 9 mysterious runes were too terrifying. It actually managed to block the attack of those mysterious flames. Seeing this scene, everyone's heart beat wildly. He went in, this guy actually went in. Heavens, could it be that he could really obtain the illusionary divine furnace? Even Hua Muzhen's expression changed. Yin Nantian also heaved a sigh of relief. Clearly, he wasn't too sure before. However, the current situation allowed him to settle down. In the next moment, the corners of his mouth curled up into a smile as he walked forward again. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. Yin Nantian gradually walked toward the center of the valley. The distance between him and the illusionary divine furnace was getting closer and closer. Everyone's hearts were in their throats. In the dark red divine dragon, Murong Qingqing, and Shin Jinqi's eyes were wide open. Among them, the dark red divine dragon was very shocked, and his head kept shaking. Shin Jinqi, who was beside him, was very worried. She said, "Strange dragon, don't tell me you've gone mad?" Murong Qingqing also asked through voice transmission, "Could it be? What did you find?" The dark red divine dragon gasped and also said through voice transmission, "Damn it, that's not a Tao pattern." If it's not a Tao pattern, then what is it? Emperor pattern. He actually knows the Emperor's talismans. Damn it, he has indeed obtained the inheritance of the great Emperor. Emperor pattern. Are you saying that those are the talismans left behind by the great Emperor? Murong Qingqing was also very shocked after hearing that. Shin Jinqi's little face was even more dazed. The great Emperor was the existence at the peak of martial arts, and was the dream of all warriors. No one knew exactly how strong the great Emperor was. After all, No one had seen it with their own eyes. But from the records of ancient books, they knew that once the great emperor appeared, he would dominate the world and sweep through the universe. No one in the world was a match for him. It could be said that he was the strongest person. He could easily kill countless saints. He could turn the world upside down with a raise of his hand. For such a person, one could imagine how terrifying the talismans left behind were. No wonder he could resist the mysterious flame with just 9 talismans. This Yan'antian was too amazing. They wondered which great emperor's inheritance he had obtained. Murong Qingcheng's expression was solemn. Shin Jinqi's little face turned pale. Then wouldn't he be invincible? Once this kind of talisman appeared, even the saints couldn't break it. This was simply an invincible position. However, the dark red divine dragon shook its head. The real great emperor's talisman was naturally unparalleled in the world, but Yan'antian was just a young man. How could he display a complete emperor's talisman? I think he must have only comprehended a trace of the emperor's talisman, and evolved these 9 talismans. If these 9 talismans were the real emperor's talisman, not to mention this valley, the entire Sky Flame City would probably be destroyed. So that's how it was. Murong Qingcheng and Shin Jingqiu finally understood. The other party must have obtained the inheritance of the great emperor, and comprehended some of the great emperor's talismans. At this moment, the means he displayed had indeed surpassed them. Do you think he can succeed? Murong Qingcheng was nervous. Shin Jingqiu even said that if he went, those people wouldn't let him go. At that time, there would be a great battle. They wondered how brother Lin Xian was doing. They were very worried about Lin Xian's situation. No rush, let's wait and see. Although he had the inheritance of the great emperor, his strength was still too weak. He wasn't a saint yet. Sky Flame City was too mysterious. The flames on the void divine furnace were too terrifying. They wondered if this guy could obtain it in the end. The dark red divine dragon's eyes flickered. The others held their breaths. The fire dragon king stared at it for a long time and screamed. I know, it's the emperor's talisman. As soon as the words came out, Huomuzhen and Feng Yangshi's pupils shrank. Emperor's talisman. No wonder it had such terrifying power. This wasn't a Dao talisman. Dao talismans existed in the world. They were the Dao talismans used by the saints after comprehending the laws. Talismans were different. Talismans were created by experts based on their own experience, or Dao talismans. However, different experts created different talismans with different strengths. The talismans created by the great emperor were incomparably terrifying and mysterious. One talisman could probably kill a saint. This was the peak of the great emperor. Chapter 2977. Who would have thought that Yan'antian would be so powerful to have great emperor runes? Huomuzhen's eyes flickered, and his face was extremely gloomy. The 9 great emperor runes blocked the mysterious flame. Yan'antian must have other tricks up his sleeve. Perhaps it was passed down by the great emperor. If that was the case, he might really be able to obtain the great void divine furnace. Thinking of this, Huomuzhen's eyes were filled with anxiety and gloominess. Previously no one could do anything about it. So be it. But now? Yan'antian had such a trick up his sleeve. Should he make a move? To be honest, he definitely wanted to make a move. After all, the great void divine furnace was extremely precious. But if he made a move now, he would fall out with Yan'antian. Even the fire dragon king, Feng Yinxue, and the others would not hold back. They would definitely make a move. At that time, there would be a great battle. It would be great if he could obtain the great void divine furnace. If he couldn't obtain it, he would not even have a chance to obtain the heavenly fire. After all, once he made a move, these people would no longer be in the alliance. And from the looks of it, Yan'antian was very confident, but whether he could succeed in the end was still unknown. Therefore, for a moment, Huomuzhen's mind was filled with thoughts. On the other side, the Fire Dragon King and Feng Yinxue also had solemn expressions. It seemed that they were also struggling. Hua Xinyan had a sinister smile on his face. No one knew what he was thinking. In the dark red divine dragon, and the others were all waiting for an opportunity. In the valley, Yin Nantian walked forward with the help of the 9 great runes. But in the end he still stopped. This was because there were terrifying flame runes flashing in a 10-mile radius around the Great Void Divine Furnace. From the top of the cauldron, it spread out in all directions, forming a terrifying formation. This should be the 8 Desolation Divine Fire formation that Homujin mentioned. This formation was so terrifying that even Yin Nantian did not dare to casually step forward. It was not that he did not want to, but he could not. This was because when he took a step forward, the 9 great runes on his body cracked. This made him know that he could not go any further. However, it was already not easy to reach this place. Next, he had to use another method. Having obtained the Great Emperor's inheritance, he didn't just have the Great Emperor's talisman. Yin Nantian took a deep breath. His body glowed brightly as he formed one ancient seal after another. In the next moment, the void above the valley swirled and turned into a vortex. A mysterious hand that was as long as a hand emerged from the vortex and grabbed at the illusionary divine furnace below. Seeing this scene, Feng Yinxue frowned. No, if he could grab it from a distance, he would have snatched it long ago. He had unleashed a blood phoenix phantom before, but it was burned to ashes as soon as it reached the valley. Even though Zhang Xian was only using his palm, his fate was likely to be similar to that of the Crimson Phoenix. He would probably be burned to ashes in an instant. However, in the next moment, Feng Yingxi's eyes widened in disbelief. He discovered that the mysterious palm did not shatter. Instead, it moved downward and enveloped the illusionary divine furnace. Damn it, how is this possible? Not to mention him. Even the Fire Dragon King and Huomuzin's pupil shrank. It seemed like the other party's methods were indeed mysterious. Hua Xingyan and Yin also stopped smiling. Their expressions became solemn. The Ancient Chaos Hand. I didn't expect you to obtain the inheritance of the Ancient Chaos Great Emperor. The Ancient Chaos Great Emperor. The Fire Dragon King and the others looked solemn. They naturally had a deep understanding of the human race's great emperors. The Ancient Chaos Great Emperor was a very terrifying one in the past. In the dark red divine dragon and the others were also shocked. They finally figured out which great emperor's inheritance Yin Nantian had obtained. Could it be that he was really going to get it? Feng Yinxue murmured. The Fire Dragon King's eyes shone with a cold light. He was already prepared. As long as Yin Nantian took the illusionary divine furnace and left the valley, he would make his move. He wouldn't let the treasure fall into the hands of others. On the other side, Homujin sneered. It was impossible. He was too greedy. He shook his head. Although Yin Nantian had displayed powerful strength, and even used the Ancient Chaos Hand, he didn't think that the other party would succeed. His understanding of the illusionary divine furnace was deeper than others. With such a terrifying divine fire, even a saint might not be able to stop it. Not to mention the other party. Sure enough, in the next moment, a large crack appeared on the Ancient Chaos Hand. The illusionary divine furnace was overflowing with flames as if it was going to burn everything. Yin Nantian's face was incomparably pale. His eyes were filled with deep shock. He didn't expect that he wouldn't be able to catch it. Instead, he would be injured by the other party. Thinking of this, he sighed in his heart. It seemed that it was impossible to completely take away this mysterious and terrifying illusionary divine furnace. However, he wouldn't give up. Since he couldn't take it away, he would open it in front of everyone. He wanted to see what kind of treasure was in the illusionary divine furnace. In the next moment, he grabbed the cauldron of the illusionary divine furnace. With a boom, the Ancient Chaos Hand erupted with a terrifying aura. It directly grabbed the top of the furnace, and then pulled it up forcefully. At this moment, Yin Nantian was like a great emperor awakening. He displayed a terrifying strength. The 9 runes beside him were constantly shining. On one hand, they were resisting the attacks of the divine fire. On the other hand, they were frantically absorbing the spiritual energy here to provide Yin Nantian with power. Boom, boom, boom. The Ancient Chaos Hand unleashed its power. The top of the illusionary divine furnace rumbled and a crack appeared. Seeing this scene, Huomuzin's pupils shrank. Damn it. Could it be that he could really open the illusionary divine furnace? Thinking of this, His heart thumped wildly. The others also looked solemn. It seemed that there was hope. Even if they couldn't take away the illusionary divine furnace, it was still extremely good to snatch the treasure inside. The dark red divine dragon that was hiding in the dark was also extremely shocked. This Yin Nantian was really terrifying. Usually he hadn't seen him fight many times. It didn't expect his methods to be so terrifying. It seemed that it had to be wary of him in the future. Open. In the valley, Yin Nantian roared. The 9 runes on his body erupted at the same time. They were like 9 suns. The ancient chaos hand was also void. It became solid as if it was a real great emperor's hand that descended from the sky. It directly lifted the top of the illusionary divine furnace. With a boom, the illusionary divine furnace let out an earth-shattering sound. A desolate aura rushed out in all directions. A terrifying pressure shrouded everyone's heart, causing their souls to tremble. However, their eyes were fixed on the front. They wanted to see clearly what was inside the illusionary divine furnace. However, the illusionary divine furnace was too mysterious. It was chaotic inside. It was as if it wasn't a furnace, but a real world. They couldn't see clearly at all. In this chaotic void, there was a fiery red light that streaked across and circled above the illusionary divine furnace. It carried a terrifying flame power and a thick fragrance. This fragrance was simply too astonishing. Even the Fire Dragon King and the others had never seen it before. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.